Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. But more importantly, I said to you, Blue Morning, because it is the Blue Morning Show. Today we have quite a lot to talk about. We'll talk the possibility of Lukaku going back to Inter Milan. We'll talk about the news that Perisic has agreed terms with Tottenham and will be joining them on a free. And we'll also talk about the options left for Thomas Tuchel. But more importantly, also, we will talk about the club's statement regarding the sale of the club to Todd Boehly's led consortium. So sit back and relax and let's get into the show. Yes, people, welcome back to another Blue Money Show. I hope you're all doing well. Again, it's a packed morning today because we have quite a lot to talk about. Like I said before, during the introduction, we will talk about the club's statement. We will talk about some updates that are out there. We'll also talk about the potential of Romelu Lukaku returning to Inter Milan. We'll talk about Perisic choosing Tottenham over Chelsea Football Club, and then we'll talk about the options that are left in terms of that position, the position that was the reason why we were trying to sign Perisic, other options that are left for Thomas Tuchel, which includes Borna Sosa, and also Marc Cucurella. So please don't go anywhere while we get into it. First, I'd like to catch up with everything in the chat. Here I have Lamb. Lamb, always one of the first to join the show. Good to see you here, Lamb. But before I continue, please, I want to ask you, if you haven't, please do take a second to like the video. And more importantly, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't, to help us to reach the milestone of 2K subscribers today. But also, the more you like the video, the more we will be able to reach more people. The Google algorithm will be triggered, and the show will be pushed to other people who would be interested in this and the topic we have to talk about today. Lamb says, a blue morning to you, coach, and everyone joining the chat. Today is the big day when we get our great club back. Yep, you could say technically, I think I'd say we're close to getting that back. That's the reason why it says the process will be completed on Monday. Probably they're still putting pen to paper, plugging in signatures on one paper or the other, just to complete the process. But then again, that's how it usually goes. Have a good day anyway, Tree Blue. Thank you very much for saying that to him. He says, Tree Blue says, unable to join, internet down, not enough data. Have a good stream. Thank you very much for kindly saying that. That's very kind of you. Again, says, have a good day. Anyway, Tree Blue from Lamb. Prulo Iban says, I think we should go for Angelino from Leipzig. He would be a great addition to the team as a left back or a left wing back. Again, anybody that can play left back can be converted to play the left wing back role. But then again, if you see an option in the market that's specialized in that position, I think that would be a better option rather than going for a player who's not specialized in that position. But then again, like I said already, anybody that can play in the left back position can also be deployed as a left wing back player. So that's not going to be an issue if you ask me. So quickly, I'm going to start by talking about the club's comment, what it means and what it doesn't mean, because it's easy to say, yes, it's done. Let me try and open the statement somewhere here so I can read it while I analyze it. Just quickly, I'll get back to the screen again. Let me go here first. It's this one here. Yep, I think that's the one I want to share in a beat. One second. Just give me a second. One second. Okay, this is the club statement here. So again, let's look at it and try to analyze and understand what it means. Again, that doesn't mean Todd Boehly has become the club's owner, if you ask me. At least that's how I see it. The statement reads, Chelsea Football Club can confirm that a final and definitive agreement has entered into last night to sell the club to the Todd Boehly Clear Lake Capital Consortium. It is expected that the transaction will be completed on Monday. The club will update further at that time. Again, well, if you're reading this, it's important to pay attention. What's that area again? Definitive agreement was entered into last night to sell. It says to sell was the definitive agreement. It says a fine and definitive agreement was entered last night to sell the club to the Todd Boehly Clear Lake Capital Consortium to sell, which means that it hasn't, the sale process is not complete yet. So we must be cautious on how we think the whole process is complete, but it's a good sign. At least we can see clearly that we are really at the end of the tunnel. So there's nothing to be concerned about. But at the same time, this doesn't mean the process is complete, especially that area where I have highlighted. But more importantly, I think lots more positives. I think you can say it is the whole process now. You could be positive about the whole process, given that this statement is out there, which means it's nothing to do than to put pen to paper, seal it, and also then you can say, okay, the club has been sold. But right now it hasn't been sold, as the statement says there. We have a few other things to talk about. I think I will start going into them one by one, and until we have other people join us here in the chat, then I will revisit the topics to get their opinion on them. This one is from Graham Bailey. It says, Chelsea quietly confident of luring Ousmane Dembele to Stamford Bridge. Again, you could argue there are a few reasons why that there's still a huge possibility that Ousmane Dembele joins Chelsea Football Club. One is his relationship with Thomas Tuchel. Again, he's played under him, and you could argue he's had his best form as a footballer or in his career so far under Thomas Tuchel at Dortmund. So he may well see maybe this is a chance for me to reignite that brilliance of a run that he had under Thomas Tuchel. So, but there are also other things that we've talked about on this show that may well be a concern for the club. Some like his not really his disciplinary issues or record, or again the racism role was it will forever be there. But it's something that we've talked about here also as a way to deal with it. I think the club to a certain measure will be concerned about that, and I think the club also will be concerned because he's on a wage. I can't recall how much exactly. He will come on a free, but his weekly salary will be something that will shatter the club's wage structure. And I don't think the club would want to see that. So again, it remains to be seen. But the argument we've heard here, we've come to the conclusion that if Thomas Tuchel really wants him at the club, there's nothing anyone can do to stop that. We can't change that. That's something we must know. Again, Liam here says, that says to me the signing of contracts will be done over the weekend and will be announced Monday. So that is not a clashing with the fanfare of the Champions League final today. Again, for Chelsea fans, I think the most important thing today is the fact that it's out, that the final, that an agreement, you can say an agreement is in place for the sale of the club. Let me revisit it again since Liam talked about it. Again, Liam's comment says, that says to me the signing of contracts will be done over the weekend and will be announced on Monday. So that is not clashing. Again, that the most important part is what you said, that the signing of contracts will be done today. That's why technically Todd Boehly isn't the new owner, because if you look at the area that I've highlighted on the screen, It says, let me get that again. It says a final and definitive agreement was entered into last night to sell the club, which means the club has not been sold. And again, it states the name of the people that are trying to buy the club to the Todd Boehly Clearly Capital Consortium. But then again, there's nothing wrong there. It still gives us hope. It still shows that everything is complete. It's just, plugging in signatures of the parties involved in areas where they're supposed to be. But again, that's, by the way, back to the Ousmane Dembele talk. If you're in the chat, you let me know what you think, whether you'd like to see him at the club. I think, if Thomas Tuchel wants him, who am I to blow against the wind? If he wants him, he wants him. And again, it sounded like he wants him at the club. And if that's the case, I don't think there's anything we can do about it. After all, he is a fine player and he's worked under the manager and he's had his best form under the manager. We'll continue with the commenting. Good morning, Coachila. Blue morning to you, Sheila. I hope you're doing well. He says, I woke up to this notification from the Chelsea app. I know that I had to release a statement considering it leaked on Twitter yesterday. Yep, they had to follow it up because you could say they have the club, they have to be cautious not to be too quick on saying, okay, we'll sort the club when the process isn't complete yet. But at this point, you could say we're close to, seeing the completion of the sale conundrum, if you want to put it that way. There's hope. I don't think anything else emerges that will be a problem given the statement of the club. The club sale is complete. Why are we trying to play with words? Again, it's not about playing with words. The statement there is from the club. It's not from us. So there are some stuff that needs to be done. This is no sale of groceries in a store. This is a sale of a club. So they must be cautious. There's probably quite a lot of people, to put pen to paper for it to go through. I suspected, but I get your argument. We're not playing with words, but that doesn't mean we're saying there's anything bad. And the club lets you know that the process is expected to be completed by Monday, and they will keep you updated. So I'm not saying this is not us being negative. No, you can't be negative at this time because it's clear that the process is at the point of completion. Maybe a few signatures here and there, and you can say, yes, it's done. But that's, by the way, that takes me to this thing that's out there, and it is from Simon Phillips. Again, he says sources say N'Golo Kante is expected to be made available for a reduced price due to his contract expiring in 12 months, and Thomas Tuchel's desire to freshen up his midfield. That begs the question: letting N'Golo Kante go, who are we going to bring in? That is a question that needs to be answered. We've lost out. I don't know if there's still a chance for us to sign one of our preferred, player that the club has been looking at for a while, which I thought would be the case. I'm talking about Aurelien Tchouameni. Do we still have the chance to sign him? Is there something someone else knows that we don't know? That I cannot say. We've missed. You could argue that we've missed out on him already. They're saying his preferred club is Real Madrid or Liverpool, and he's not even considering joining us. And again, Boubacar Kamara is already signed for Aston Villa. So the only option when you talk about the midfield area or players that were being linked to it that can help fulfill that role includes Bissouma and who else again? And we're not linked to Ndidi, but I think the club should be considering him given how well he's played for or in that position for Leicester City again. So I'm not sure. I don't really trust this tweet by Simon Phillips. And if you look at the comment, I think I'm with the response he got. Response below says, yeah, right. We're absolutely going to lose Rudiger, Aspi, Jorginho, and Kante in one window. Absolutely happening. Oh, look at again. So that's me. She's arguing, or the person is arguing that this is, I don't think this is true. I don't believe this. I don't think the club would consider selling N'Golo Kante while they have not been able to sign at least a defined DM. Why you could still argue N'Golo Kante isn't a DM, but he's capable of fulfilling that role perfectly. Here we have Asamu again saying, blessed morning, Coachila. Blessed morning to you too, and blue morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Trust you're doing great this morning, and thanks for the stream. More thanks to you for participating. You bring great value to the stream. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are today. We've already actually gained a few subscribers already, so I'm hopeful that we'll get to 2K subscribers today. Again, thank you very much. We already have 21 likes. I know we can do better than that because we have about 53 people watching. So people, please, if you haven't, take a second to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're in the chat, I'd like you to let me know your thoughts on the fact that it's looking more likely that Ousmane Dembele will join Chelsea Football Club, whether you want him to join or whether you don't want the club to sign him. Your thoughts, just let me know. So back on this talk about N'Golo Kante leaving the club, I think we're quick to judge him. I don't think he's lost form. I don't think N'Golo Kante, you could argue he's not that machine that he was a year or 2 years ago. But the fact is, I think Thomas Tuchel has found a way to use him. On his stay, you could say he's the reason why we've won most games or seen some games that we've been leading out. Again, I don't think Chelsea will consider selling him for obvious reasons. N'Golo Kante is an exemplary professional. Again, we won the UEFA Champions League with N'Golo Kante in the midfield, who's not fully fit, by the way. We won the Europa Cup UEFA Europa Cup under Mauricio Sarri with N'Golo Kante, who's not 50% fit. So I think those things do come into play. I think the club also respects him as a professional. I think they'd keep him. Maybe he will not be starting as much games as he started in the past, but I see N'Golo Kante staying at the club longer than anticipated, even if we get in Bissouma or any other defined players who can help us fulfill that role. And please just pardon me 1 second while I take a sip of my coffee before I lose my voice. Thank you. Now, let me go further in the comments to read what people are saying there and be all caught up. Here, I have Sheila saying blue money, my people. No, not Sheila. In life, no limit saying blue money, my peoples. The light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter and brighter. Exactly, that's the way we see it. That's the way we should be seeing it. And that is in no way being a negative. No, we're just being we're all smart people. If you read the statement again, it doesn't say the process is complete. From what I highlighted on the screen, it simply says the final agreement has been the final aspect. Let me just open it again so not to mislead you guys. I want us to read it and be objective about it. Now, it says that I'm going to read it again so we'll be sure what we're talking about. Chelsea Football Club can confirm that a final and definitive agreement was entered into last night to sell the club. It says to sell the club, which means it hasn't been sold. But since the final, here's the thing, since the final agreement was entered into last night, the process is almost done. But you can't say something of this magnitude, selling a business of this magnitude or club, you can't just say it's done because it is. So that's why it is worded like this. So we must, yes, understand that it's not done yet. The whole thing will process, like Liam says, the signature signings will go on this throughout the weekend, and by Monday the process will be complete. And announcement will be then there will be officially the owner. Yes, exactly. We're just being cautious, but I'll highlight that in a bit. So we're all smart people. We can't just jump and say, "Oh, the process is complete." No, it's not. So this in life no limits comment makes sense. It's just that the light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter and brighter, and in no distant time, in a few days, it will be even more brighter. Dembele is a quality player like Ziyech was at Ajax. The problem is, will TT use a formation that allows these players to flourish by caging them with our defensive fragilities? Again, I think we talked about it yesterday. I don't see signing Dembele being an issue for Thomas Tuchel He's played under him before, and probably you could argue one of the best players under Thomas Tuchel at Dortmund was Dembele. So I don't think the system that Thomas Tuchel deploys will hinder Ousmane Dembele. I think he's good enough to adapt to whatever system Thomas Tuchel wants to deploy. And with that, I want to welcome Fairboy to the panel before I go through the chat to catch up and then bring him in, ask him some questions. How are you doing, Fairboy?
Yeah, Coachila, I'm doing well. Yourself?
I can't complain, brother. Like this coming down the screen by in life, no limits states, the light at the end of the tunnel is becoming brighter and brighter given the club's statement. I don't know if you've read the statement. I wanted to, to look at it with other people on the panel, but I started alone. But it's so fun though. But good to have you on the panel. Let me catch up with the chat and I'll come back and ask you a question regarding what you read, how you see the statement from the club and what it means to you. Is that okay?
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay, brilliant. So I will come back to you in a bit. Let me just catch up quickly before I'm way too behind. And I've read this comment by Shiloh. And also, I'm going to highlight that one because I'd like to ask questions regarding it. I swear the rumors mills working over time. I guess only time will tell. That's the truth. Again, some nonsense will still pop up. Now the rumors starts with us linked to every players under the sun. That's Chelsea Football Club for you. If that doesn't happen, then you're talking about a different club. For 4 billion, you better make sure all things are above board. It takes time, folks. Yep, it is not something you do in a rush. Like the example I've used before, this is not like buying groceries in the store. This is 4 billion plus a deal. The slightest misuse of language can cause a whole lot of problems. We don't want that to happen. We want it to be done correctly. In Tuchel's post-match press conference against Watford, Tuchel said Kante is Mbappe, Mo, Salah, De Bruyne, etc. Kante will stay 100%. That's for sure. But people like to make up stories. Kante played too much matches for Chelsea. That's why he's tired now. That may well be the case. And plus, that period where we were judging him, he was fasting then. So it's easy. There's a chance that, you could argue there's a chance that he wasn't fully fit. And people, finding excuses to say Kante was poor and all that. And before I continue, please, if you haven't, do like the video. It takes just a second. We have 27 likes and we have 61 people watching, so we can have a higher number of likes there to help us reach more people and have more people in the chat. The more people we have, the more fun it will be. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel. I think we will hit 2,000 subscribers today. Again, we're just being cautious. That's the truth. We don't want to, money everyone. It is sold. It is on the UK government's website. Was done yesterday afternoon. Show it to me and I take it. But again, the club is being cautious. I think the UK have approved everything. I don't think the UK has a hand in the completion of the sale process. What they do is approve the sale. So we have to be cautious still. Take my name, Swat Sucks with Mahim. Again, nice to see you here, brother. We won't be selling both Kante and Jorginho. If I have to let go one go, I will let Georgie go. Again, I think I am like that too. Name was changed from Chelsea FC PLC to Chelsea FC Holdings PLC. Yeah, we've heard about that since yesterday, and that's part of the process. So, Fairboy, I'm going to bring you in now. Now, look at the comments here. Let's look at it together. Do you want me to read it, or are you going to read it yourself and let me know what you think about the comments, especially the area I highlighted?
Okay, so let me read it myself. Let me see. Now, it says that the following statement has been published. Chelsea Football Club can confirm that a final and definitive agreement was entered into last night to sell the club to Todd Boehly / Clear Lake Capital Consortium. It's expected that the transaction will be completed on Monday. The club will update further at that time.
Yep. So it's actually important that I highlight this aspect too. Go ahead, brother.
All right. So from what the club has stated and what he has published, for me, the rumors were that everything had been completed. I don't know if the sanctions have been removed per the fact that Todd Boehly is now taking over, right? But if it's on Monday that everything will be sorted out, although I'm optimistic that there's light at the end of the tunnel, the problem is maybe our transfers will delay a bit because of the time they are the matter. So for me, fine. It's good news that things are going on quickly, as quickly as possible when it comes to the ownership deal. But I think that it might delay our transfers. Now, if you think about it, because we didn't have a clear owner, it seems some of the targets that we just wanted, other teams are stealing them. And I thought it's already over. But on Monday is when everything is going to be completed. The transaction is going to be completed. So,
that's what I was looking at. So,
to make, but
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, so as I'm just saying, I think it will delay. It will delay the transfer business we want to do. Perhaps maybe we could sign Jules Koundé after the deal is sealed, right? But I don't know if we can get more and more signings before perhaps the season starts. So that's what I'm worried about. But I hope these things can be sorted out as quickly as possible, because we know these people, they always like to postpone and postpone and postpone and postpone. And that has caused our business in the transfer market to delay a little. So I hope that, yes, it's good news, but I hope that it is sorted out as quickly as possible so that we can go on with our transfer business.
Yeah, but because here's what we do here on the Blue Money Show. We're not being negative in any way, by any means necessary. We're just being factual here. The truth is, the statement shows that the process isn't complete yet. But you could argue what is left is just putting pen to paper and confirming, okay, I agree with this, And this is, like I'm going to keep repeating myself, this is not the purchase of bread from a grocery store or milk. This is 4 billion plus involved. So the buyer has to be cautious. The seller also has to be cautious and must, because like I said, the slightest misuse of language can cause a whole lot of problem. So with that, again, before we continue, I'll catch up with the chat again. If you haven't, please be sure to like the video. And again, I think we're doing well so far. We have 35 likes, but we have around 84 people watching, so we can do better in terms of the likes. Please like the video if you haven't, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't, to help the channel reach 2K subscribers today. So Fairboy, let me take you to this one here about because it's looking more likely. I don't know if I've asked you that question. That also, okay, Ousmane Dembele will be coming to us. Have I asked you that question, really? Fairboy, are you still
I'm not sure if you asked me that question.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So what do you think? It's looking more likely because... go ahead.
Yeah, Ousmane to Chelsea. Wow, it's interesting. And I understand Tuchel. If it's Tuchel's signing, I understand him. He's worked with Ousmane before, and they've had some good relationship. Will Ousmane improve our team? Of course, he's going to improve our team big time. Now, I think the argument with a lot of people is that we do not need wingers. For me, I think we do need wingers, but I've also stated the sort of wingers we want. We want goal-scoring wingers. But with how Thomas Tuchel wants to approach his game, he wants more versatility. And in Ousmane Dembele, he provides that. You understand? He has a lot in his skill set than someone like Hakim Ziyech. So
he can use both feet.
Exactly. So he's much more unpredictable compared to Hakim Ziyech, especially if we are supposed to stick to a back three and we are supposed to use full backs as wing backs and wingers as inside forwards. Then Ousmane Dembele will be a good option. But I've heard a lot of concerns about Ousmane's injury issues and other things. Well, I think it was also a concern for me when we were linked to Dembele. But it seems that after Zabi came and arranged the Barcelona team and integrated him as part of the squad, we rarely hear of him getting those injuries. So I believe perhaps a little bit of like a manager who can check over him and make sure that he displays some good habits that will ensure that he's always healthy might help. The reason why Ousmane Dembele has been injured for some time now, or most of the times, is I won't only blame it on the medical team. I also blame it on his habits. When he was at Dortmund, he wasn't injuring himself that much. So the question is, what changed at Barcelona? Clearly, it might be his habits, and the people who are supposed to check him did not check him. And the previous owners, the club wasn't disciplined. And it also became relaxed or indisciplined. So with the introduction of Xabi being their head coach, it seems he's instilling that sort of discipline. So perhaps that is the reason why his injuries are minimizing, right? So we all agree that Dembele is a massive talent. The problem is his injuries. So if he's able to get over his injuries, then I think it could be good for us. Okay, Chelsea need a player of such a caliber, whereby apart from him knowing how to pass, that's creating, he could dribble, he could also score, he could shoot. He is very good.
He's a fine
So
finisher
such a
too.
player for Tuchel's system in the 3-back, he will fit it. He will fit it, and I hope that we get him. Okay,
Yeah,
I hope we get him. So I hope that it's not just rumors, but it's a concrete it's concrete interest that Chelsea has for this ball.
It is indeed. It is.
Yes.
Again, I've always
he's a very
had
fine finisher. He has everything in his locker.
He's
Left,
a fine
left
finisher.
foot, right foot. It means that he can play across the entire front three. And that's what I like from such a player. He can play on the left-hand side, can play on the right-hand side. He's still going to be deadly. So,
yeah. Are you still there? Yeah. Again, my response to what you were saying is this. I think in this channel is
Coachila,
called,
you know what? Let me get off and come back. I think my network it's lagging, so I'll go.
All right,
off
no problem.
Come back.
No problem. That's fine. That's fine. Again, my argument for Dembele, I think, has always been my concern, because that's why this channel is called A Chelsea Perspective. I've always liked to see, we do our research, but more importantly, we try to see things from the perspective of Chelsea Football Club. And again, we do that before we talk about any cases of potential players joining the club. My concern has always been whether the club will have issues, we'll start having, getting complaints from sponsors, because the club still has quite a lot of, big name sponsors from Asian countries, which was where the issue took place. I don't know if you heard everything I said previously before you joined back.
Honestly, not. I didn't hear everything.
Okay, what I was saying is this. My concern, I knew over time, I know from time, that is, I've watched him from his days at Dortmund, knowing how good he is, but my concern has always been, the issues he's had, the racism role, his injury record, his disciplinary issues. But I think he's outgrown the disciplinary issues. That's no longer a concern. But there's something that is always there, that, because we like to see things from a Chelsea perspective here. How would any player coming to the club benefit the club, or will the signing the player be a problem? My concern has always been how the club would deal with the PR issues that he's going to come with. Because the racism role was, it's not something you can easily sweep under the rug. The world heard about it. There are quite a lot of videos out there about it. And again, the club still have, the Chelsea Football Club still has a quite big name sponsors from Asian countries, especially in the country where the incident took place. But like Bobby talked about on this show the other day, that's a strategic PR approach could be used, to I wouldn't say suppress, to to bring that to a conclusion, to find, a closure to that racism role issue, because he's a human being and we all do make mistakes. But I think if Thomas Tuchel wants him, then the club should be prepared to deal with the PR nightmare that he comes with. But another big issue would be his wage. I don't know if he'd be willing to take a wage cut. And we have an owner who obviously, will be profit focused, is already profit focused, and it's talked about how he will be spending strategically and not just pouring money into the problem. So we must recognize there's a chance his salary is an issue. But that's, by the way, I think we should move on or move beyond Ousmane Dembele. And I'll go through the chat and we'll talk about Romelu Lukaku's the probability, or let me say possibility of Romelu Lukaku joining going back to Inter Milan. Let me catch up, and I think maybe I'll try and bring Bobby up to par. But before I read what's in the chat, I want to say welcome to Bobby. Bobby, welcome to the panel. How are you doing, brother? Okay, I don't think he's fully connected yet, so I'll come back to him. But this, I say, his name was changed. I think I've read that before. And also this comment right here says, again, I think it was a repeat of what he said before. Good news. Yeah, some good news. Yeah, the light at the end of the tunnel is even brighter than it was yesterday. So, yeah, I'm glad the sale is finally going through. Yeah, it's going through. Exactly, that's how we see it. It's not done yet, but that we can be rest assured there won't be any stumbling blocks or hurdles, if you prefer. Says anyone else who thinks of Fofana would be a good signing. For me, my choice would be a Soyuncu. I think his teammates, yeah. So again, but you have your choice. I am sure they are waiting until next week. Not good to complete at the end of the weekend. They need due diligence and make sure all the ticks are in the right places. Exactly. That was why we say you cannot technically say the process is completed right now. It's completed right now, but there's no more hurdles, no more any nonsense that can pop up from anywhere. It's just maybe plugging in the signatures where they should be. Do you believe Perisic shows Spurs because of the delay of Chelsea? So he was almost certain to sign up for us. I think you most likely the reason he chose Spurs over us was, you could argue, possibly because of Inter Milan's relationship with Antonio Conte. Yes, Conte left Inter Milan, but I think you could argue he left on a good note. They didn't fight. He just they weren't going to spend too much in the market or some story like that, so he had to leave. So I don't think it's because the delays and the sell prices. I think his relationship with Conte, yeah, exactly, just as I said. And declared here, it says Gabriel Omorba says, welcome to the Boehly era. Yep, you have every right to say that. Dembele is so versatile that can be played fit and injured very well. Declared, I was expecting such for you. I'm so I will get a season ticket renewal a few days. Please do. Maybe you can always bring us images from the stadium. I says I'm not the biggest fan of Dembele, though. Let's see what happens. Again, there are issues that I've looked at, but the most that I'm concerned about right now is simply his salary demand. Again, that's a conversation between them, and this is, I'm sure, again, this is just somebody. By the way, big up, Coach. Blue morning to you, and blue morning to you too, brother. Nice to see you there. Again, saying Dembele, if you want him, I hope he comes. If Thomas Tuchel wants him, we should get it from him for him. But I'm suspecting that his salary will be an issue. Dembele is the Eden Hazard replacement that we always need. I wouldn't say that. I don't think he will even come close to achieving what Eden Hazard did at the club. If he comes and does that, fine, I'd take it. I wouldn't say no to it. Just really nice to see you here, the Queen of Chelsea Perspective. Nice to see you, and you're on time today, so brilliant. Says the Added Time podcast. Okay, this is just a conversation between them there. So, Bobby, let me come to you quickly. Tell me, what do you think Ousmane Dembele coming to Chelsea? We've talked about, and you were the one that specifically told us there's a way to fix, his, you could say behavioral record. Now, let's talk about his salary. Do you think it's something, that the club can accommodate? Because we're already seeing that our salary structure is everywhere. One player earns twice as much as the other player who even does more work for the team. Your thoughts?
I have no idea what Usman Dembele is asking for if he moves, when he moves, because clearly he's going to move. I understand, in fact, I know he's on about 287 a week at Barcelona, which is less than we're paying Lukaku and almost at par with people like, is it Kante and so on. So I don't know. He's going to cost some money, that's for sure, because he is a free transfer. So his wages will be absorbed in the transfer cost, which doesn't make it sound as bad as somebody who comes with a transfer as well as wages. For example, Lukaku's wages are on top of the 97.5, whatever it was, or 97.7 million in transfer wages. That's why everybody's so angry about his output. So Dembele, for the talent he is and the fact that Tuchel likes him, let's put it this way. If Chelsea go for him, that means Tuchel likes him. And if Tuchel likes him, I like him. There are some amendments Tuchel has to make in the forward line, that's for sure. And in his strategy as well, I think he himself will hold his hands up and say that, he made a few mistakes here and there. But Dembele, I don't see this as a problem. He's look, a kid comes out and says something really stupid at a restaurant or wherever it was. He said that with Antoine Griezmann
in a hotel room.
In a hotel room. It was a very childish, almost silly thing to say. But in the world in which we live today, you can't say these things. And it's fixable. I mean, gosh, there are players that play for Chelsea and are still cult heroes at Chelsea who have done and been accused of far worse and have been associated with far worse. So, forgetting the fact that it is something at Chelsea, there must be redemption in this world, especially for a young kid. He was out, what, 21? Max 22 when he came out with that nonsense. And one thing I understand about somebody like that, I don't think he harbors any racist.
No, that's simply not the case. Not the case. I think he was just a kid playing around, but
just saying rubbish.
Yeah.
And the fix is Chelsea need to come out with him, reach out to whatever community that is, and just say something and do something. Look, I've come here. I first thing I really need to address is this issue around me. Something that is not what I'm about. I really apologize for my foolishness. I'd like to. This is just an example. Donate £10,000 to a children's charity. Something. Just reach out and say sorry. I mean, crikey, nobody. There are so many worse things happening in the world that nobody's going to string him up for it. In fact, people will admire the apology and the will to move forward. I think we are sensible enough to understand that everybody makes mistakes. It's what you do about the mistakes going forward that matters. I know, I've been around Chelsea a very, 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 long time. I do a bit of security there. I see a lot of people there. And I know that there are some people in the dark days that were, goodness me, they were outwardly racist. They really were nasty people. But you see them today and they've changed. Some of them have done time. Some of them, they're just different people. They're repentant people. And they don't want to go back to those dark days. Now, I embrace these guys. I'll never say who they are, but I embrace them because I see that change. Some people still remember the dark days and they still hold it against them. But you don't know their background. You don't know what they've been through themselves. You don't know fully the circumstances that caused that. And 99 times out of 10, it's just foolishness, youthful foolishness. And when they come around, they end up being so much better as people. So, if I can find them amongst the fan base, it's everywhere. I think we're never going to fix things in this world if we don't give room for forgiveness.
Yeah. Yeah, we're humans, and none of us can argue that we're perfect. But here, just to round off the Dembele topic, I know I've talked about Fairboy, and he talked extensively about him fitting into Tuchel's system. Whether it's not an issue because he's played under him before, and he did quite well under him. And in fact, it was under Thomas Tuchel that the whole world realized what a talent he is again, and he's still young. What I want to ask you is this, Bobby. Again, his salary, if he doesn't take a wage cut, let me find out how much. Why you speaking that? Do you think his salary, if for instance he is on 3-something, per week, and
he's
doesn't,
on 287 a week.
287 a week, and the highest paid. Yeah. So don't you think he would be looking, to beef that up? Given that he's switching and we want him, PSG want him to. And do you think that the salary wouldn't be an issue for the club?
Okay, let's say he asks for 300k a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, let's put it at par with Lukaku, 325. Yeah, per week.
Mm-hmm.
That comes to what? About 40 million a year.
Now, I'm not sure the number, but go ahead. I'm following your reason for the calculations.
3.9 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that comes to about 3.9. Let's say about 4 million a year. So if he signs a 5-year contract, 4 times 5, what are we looking at? We're looking about what? About 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say he has a sign-on fee of 10 million. The guy's only going to cost us 30 million. If my maths is correct.
No, you're about correct, because 4 times 5 is around 20 million plus.
So it's not as outrageous as it sounds. I would go for it. If you put him on the same wages as Lukaku, remember he's a free transfer. He's not, all this, his wages can go towards the transfer. And his transfer would be with wages and sign-on fee about 30 million. That's what we're paying for Dembele. I would take it all day long. All day.
Yeah, I think it would be a good deal. My concern has always been his salary and other issues, but we've talked about a very, strategic a PR approach, because what he comes with that, that scares me the most is, the PR nightmare he brings with him. But that's, by the way, again, I just want to, yeah.
Yeah. Also, to add to this salary issue, right? If, for instance, you think that giving Dembele a 5-year deal is expensive, you can make it a 3-year deal. And to be okay.
The longer the deal, the cheaper. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that the shorter the deal,
the shorter the deal. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So if 5-year deal is a bit more expensive, then you can just decrease the number of years he'll be on contract. Then you can manage him. That's what I think. I think it's also another solution.
Bobby, just to bring you up to par, I wanted to look at this the statement here by the club. Because some people are saying you can jump to conclusion and say, okay, the deal is done. But the truth is, if we're being factual, the sale process isn't complete yet, according to the club's statement. It's still, but we've crossed all the hurdles. The truth is, all that is left now is probably plugging in signatures in the right places and checking that everything is correct. Because as I've repeated myself a million times in this particular episode of Blue Morning, is that the slightest misuse of language can cause a whole lot of problems. And we don't want that to happen. So, Bobby, I want you to talk about this statement and let us know. Maybe I shouldn't even highlight anything. So, on your own, after reading it, let us know what help us analyze the statement and what we should get out of it.
Well, we've gone past that, haven't we? The statement says that there is a definitive agreement, and that a final statement will be made on Monday. The deal is. Well, probably what they're waiting for is for the banks to open and confirm the transfer of funds. It's
that's a possibility. Yeah, go ahead.
it's done. There's no that it's done. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
the legal implications? It said it is expected that the transaction will be completed on Monday. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
waiting for the funds to be transferred. Do you know what it means for the club to post such a statement if it wasn't true? In fact, there
Mm-hmm.
is a
Mm-hmm.
statement from Roman Abramovich um, following this. Let me see what it is. Statement. Okay, that is a Roman statement about the club.
Mm-hmm.
So it's done. So I don't know. I know as fans sometimes we get a bit jittery about things that this and that. Nah, this is done.
Mm-hmm. All
The
right.
club has put themselves in a position by claiming it's done. It's done. The only thing
Yeah.
that's going to happen on Monday is for maybe Todd Boehly, whatever, to speak if he wants to. He doesn't even have to talk. It's done. Now we need to get on with business
All right. Now
and get
let's.
the license
Yeah, go ahead. You were saying something.
and get the license to get on with business. We've got
Yeah,
to
the license.
register.
Yeah, it's another. It's important. It's another important aspect of the whole process.
Oh, very
So
much so.
yeah. So
And Monday
let's.
is
Mhm.
the eve of the last day.
Yeah. Let me catch up with the chat and then I'll come back to the panel. I'll start with, we'll talk about the potential of Romelu Lukaku going back to Inter Milan, what that means to us. Again, just Viola saying, hey, Trump, and Trump is also saying he should take a wage cut. I hope he does if it's coming not to cause us more problems. So even though that may not happen immediately, but with time, when players or other players at the club start finding out how much he's earning, that is if the increase is more, let's say more than even 25%, then it becomes an issue. But again, I'm not concerned about that. If the manager wants him, I know the club will find a solution. Chama, nice to see you here. Dalo, I always like to speak our language to you whenever I see you here. So welcome. Dembele is no, like I said, I disagree with that. He's no Eden Hazard by any means, in any measure, if you want to phrase it that way. And while we are at it, we should make a go at Dybala. Dybala is another player that I think Bobby talked about him here, but I should let me highlight this coming. We'll come to that later. Got it about Perisic. I am also because not just because alone he can play as a left wing back man. He can also play in the left midfield position, which if you ask me, I'd say that's probably the reason why Thomas Tuchel is looking for him, because if you ask me, I'd say that's where he is most effective, not in the left wing back position. He's a creator. He can finish, and I think he uses both of feet quite well. So, but that's by the way, got it too. But you never know. If that happens, that would be a sweet revenge for Tottenham, given how we poached Willian in front of their face again. I don't. Let's see what happens. It's not over yet. Congratulations to all Blues. Yes, we can start saying congratulations to ourselves. We did it. We have overcome. Hello, Viola. How is your morning? Yep. Thank you for asking her how she's doing. Perisic signed only because of his relationship with Antonio Conte. I think we've alluded to that too. That may well be the reason why he's joining them. And Conte also still has a good relationship with Inter Milan. So that's well. We really need Gavi Dole. Is that how you pronounce that name? From Leipzig. The lad can play. Will be a great defensive addition. We don't know who the club are really looking at. We only talk about those. That somehow some journalists got a hold of the news or have insiders at the club. But we see what happens. It's afternoon here, Chama. Yep, my day has been good. Nice to hear that, just Viola. Dembele, Power, and Dembele all have attitude issues. Better to stay away with them. I think Dembele has become better in terms of his attitude. I think it's been quite some time now since we heard anything regarding his his behavior. I think he's moved on. He's matured enough not to behave that way. So Perisic is going to Tottenham. When is Chelsea actually starting to sign players? This announcement is taking too long. I think we all can agree, but again, we shouldn't complain. At least we've overcome major hurdles, obstacles, if you prefer. Now with the light at the end of the tunnel, it's even brighter. But like Bobby said, he thinks everything is complete. All that is left is the payment to reflect, in the account where the money is supposed to be paid into, that may well be the case. The sale has been announced today, Choma. Again, Kurdistan, again, this is a conversation between people in the chat. If you have any question, let us know, and I will try to address it. If not, I'll skip the conversation you guys are having here to find anything that's aligned. Glenn, nice to see you here. Again, always good to see you around. You guys provide great value to the chat. That's a statement from Roman. Yep, I want to see that too. That makes me happy. If I can find it, I will share it on the screen.
DM with that statement.
Okay, yeah, I'll open it in a bit. Boehly and not invested 4.25 billion into Chelsea to finish second. Here you make us number one again, but you got to get him the players he wants. We get money. Go to. I'm not sure what was that saying here. He's having a conversation with someone else there, so let me not get myself confused. Yeah, I've read that too. We all make mistakes, but for Chelsea to safeguard against any future mishap, they should put a clause in his. Yeah, that's another way to deal with such issue. Put the clause in his contract. Say, we're watching you. If you do this again, this is what's going to happen. This is a brilliant comment, delicious comment, in fact, by In Life No Limits. Says Abramovich has just released a statement. Yeah, Bobby said he shared it with me, so I'm going to try and share it with all of us here. Again, which means the whole process is near completion or even completed, like Bobby argued. Yes, it's a statement. Yep, everybody here agrees. I'll try and find it and share with you. I really want Lukaku out. Again, Tuchel is good. Tuchel needed to be able to take charge of whole dressing room, and Lukaku seems to always bring unnecessary problems and may be divisive in the dressing room. Again, a nice statement from Roman. I want to see that, but I hope it's not one that's going to make me cry again in the public. We were never in for Perisic. You are number 2 at Chelsea, period. You have to be okay with coming off the bench when Chile is fully fit. Again, you could argue, like I said, the main reason I think Thomas Tuchel was looking for him is to play him in that midfield area because he's capable of beating the press. Again, thank you, LSC, for showing that. I will look at it in a bit. Again, that's me. Now, I'm going to come back to the panel, but before I do that, please, if you're watching, if you haven't, be sure to like the video. I think we have just 54 likes, so we should be shooting for at least 200 likes by the end of the show. Like the video, it takes just a second. It doesn't cost anything, and if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. We are approaching 2,000 subscribers. Right now, we're at 1,962 subscribers. So we need just around 48 subscribers to get to 2,000. I believe that can happen today. Coming back to the panel, and I'm going to ask you, let me start with you, Fairboy. I don't know if you've read anything about it online. The rumors that Romelu Lukaku's camp, Inter Milan, they're looking to talk with Romelu Lukaku's camp, and we can only assume they're trying to see if there's a chance he comes back to the club. Because, yeah, they did well as a unit without Lukaku, but they were not able to win the league. Your thoughts?
Well, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. Now, I want to start from why Inter Milan sold Lukaku to us. Lukaku, perhaps, I'm sure he wanted a contract extension, but Inter Milan had no money to give him. Is that not so? So Lukaku knows that by coming to Chelsea, he will get the wages he wants. So if Inter Milan wants Lukaku, does it mean that now they've had money to come and pay for his salaries? The salaries that they felt that they are unable to pay? Or Lukaku might perhaps slash down his salary so that he'll be able to play for them. And the way this story goes, it's hard for me to believe it. For me, it's hard for me to believe it. Because the very reason why Inter Milan sold Lukaku was because of financial issues. So are you going to take a player who is the reason why your wage bill went up and was causing you any financial loss, it's hard for me.
Here's why I think there's some measure of truth in that
makes
story.
it harder for me to believe it.
Yeah,
now,
okay,
I want to come to a second issue.
Mm-hmm.
If Lukaku goes, can we get a replacement? Of course, there are so many replacements. I indeed discovered two players that can replace Lukaku in case he leaves to Inter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In Kuku. Come again.
No, I'm listening. I didn't say anything. I did not say anything. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I'm saying if
Okay, I think we'll bring Fairboy back later. But here's what my argument about that, and I think there's some measure of truth to it. The fact that it's a World Cup year, and Lukaku has seen this, it's not guaranteed a starting place at Chelsea Football Club. I think his priority will be, to play as often as possible, to be called up for the Belgium national team assignment, and to participate in the World Cup, more importantly. So that will not happen if it's not playing more often than he's done under Thomas Tuchel. And again, like I repeat myself again, there's no guarantee that he plays that often. So let me, February, I come back to you in a bit. Let me go to Bobby. Bobby, your thoughts. Then I'll go to LSD, sorry. But Bobby, go ahead. You can come in, then I'll go to LSD. Then Nick out there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just want to make 2 points. First, in response to your issue about Lukaku, just like the guy that spoke before, I have my doubts as to the validity of this. Lukaku knows the situation. Mm-hmm. They say he's come off Instagram or taken the Chelsea stuff off Instagram. I don't know, but the fact is that he knows the situation. Unless he is prepared to take a remarkable wage cut, he's not going anywhere, and he knows that. His discussion, to my understanding, with Tuchel was how he could make himself a better player in order to have a successful season next season. That's how I understand it.
Let me ask you this quickly. You don't think that he'd take a pay cut
to join?
Yeah, to get game time so that he'd be called up for the Belgian national assignment during the World Cup. Because if he's not playing, if his situation remains, as it was towards the end of the season or mid-season, actually, I don't think they'd call him up. Because his situation, I don't think would change under Thomas Tuchel. Why? I'll give you an answer, then I'll let you continue. Thomas Tuchel has not been known. He's not known to be starting, defined number nines, if you want to, or an out-and-out number nine that's similar to Lukaku. Follow his teams. Let's say, just to be fair, just to be safe, not to go as far back as Mainz. Follow his team from Borussia Dortmund. He prefers attackers who are able to get more involved in the play and are good with, in terms of ball control and everything else, but no player is perfect. I must say that. Even when he had Icardi, a player who's as good as Icardi at PSG, of which he probably okayed the signing of the player, he didn't use him that much. So that's why I'm still arguing. I don't see Lukaku's situation changing under Thomas Tuchel, and he's come out openly to say he's not going to change his system to accommodate any player. The player himself has to work to fit in the system, and I don't think Lukaku will be able to do that and then be able to play in the manner that Thomas Tuchel would say, well, or I think this is working now. He's going to be starting games. So go ahead, Bobby. You were saying something.
But Coachila, please.
Yeah, let Bobby finish. But I'll come back to you, Fairboy.
Yeah, I mean, all these ifs and buts, aren't there? Nobody can say Lukaku lacks game time. He doesn't play every game, but he doesn't lack game time. He has not been, in form to give him excessive game time. And I don't know. The fact still remains he is a mainstay with the Belgium national team. Whether he plays regularly or not, I don't think they have a striker that particularly challenges him. They've got people like what's his name? Oh gosh, I've forgotten the name of the guy that plays for Liverpool. But you know, he is
Mhm.
their top striker. Will he play every week? That's up to him. That's up to him. He signed that contract. Nobody put a gun to his head and told him to sign for Chelsea. He signed it. He went for it. So, you know, unless he takes a pay cut to go to Inter, I don't even know if Inter want him back. That's another thing. You know,
There's a chance. There's a chance that this it's just a rumor.
I think it's a rumor. I mean, he's upset the Inter fans with some of the things he said. To be honest, I think his conversation is about how he can get himself firing to the standards that is required. You know, he has a battle on his hands. The solution to Lukaku is Lukaku, and it shouldn't put Chelsea off getting another prolific striker because
Hmm.
that will be another challenge before him. My only concern with him is that the way he spits his dummy out of the pram can be dangerous. And, you know, if he's not going to play, then we'll have to give that some consideration as to whether we want him in the club or not. But apart from that, nothing else really matters. And just before I go, I need to make a comment about this statement just to confirm what I've said. Look, this
Hmm.
deal is done. Roman Abramovich doesn't talk. You know, if he's
Yeah,
come out and
that
said
confirms it's
something,
practical. It's done. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you know, if he's come out and said something, that's it. You know,
Hmm.
I'm still choked reading that. Um, what has happened with him has saddened me a great deal
Yeah.
and has made me understand the danger of politics. It's so unfair that a man that did so much, not just for our club, but for our society, our community, has had to go like this. You know, has had to be punished for something that he's not really had a part of. To be honest, I haven't seen any evidence.
Yeah, and he has no control over it.
Exactly. It's very hurtful. It's very sad. It really leaves a lump in my throat. I'm thankful that he's done his best to try and hand over to somebody who will continue the competitive nature of Chelsea and the success at Chelsea. That's what
Hmm.
we're praying for. But for he himself, my only thing to say is look, please, if there's ever an opportunity, let this man come back and say goodbye to his fans. Let us be able to stand up and give this man a standing ovation because every man, woman, and child that supports Chelsea Football Club is
Yeah.
very grateful to Roman Abramovich. Very.
Yeah, yeah. And let me say this: if you're living in media, let me say this to you, Bobby. You know, we hosting on Chelsea Perspective. We'll start the moment that the final announcement is making. We'll do the draw for Roman Abramovich tribute contest. And again, I want you to be part of the judges to judge the participants. It has stages. It has quarterfinal stages with 8 participants. Semi-final 4 participants, and then no quarterfinals 4 participants. No, let me come again. Quarterfinals 8, right? Semifinals 4, 2 for the finals, and I want you to be part of the panel of judges to help pick the best, and the best wins $150. I don't know if you have time to be part of it, and I
I'll
can.
do my best. It's a struggle during the week for me, as you well know, but I will do my best. If it's on the weekend, then it's easier for me.
Yeah, I think the final will be on the weekend to accommodate most of the panelists that I'd like to be part of the panel of judges to pick the best of the tributes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. You want to add anything else, Bobby, before I move to LSG? Then I'll come back to Nick because Nick is on the panel and he hasn't spoken.
No, that's it. You know, as I've said, I just want to reiterate, you know, once all this is over and done with, let this guy come and say goodbye. Let him say goodbye to us. We need that as a fan base
Hmm.
because it's hurtful. You know, it's hurtful. It's confusing. There's no proper closure. You know what I mean? So, you know, let him come. Let's give him a standing ovation. I can promise you to Coachila, If that man steps into Stamford Bridge on a match day, the stadium will erupt. I promise you, the whole stadium, in fact, if not, the entire street will erupt. That's how much he means to us, what he's done for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the Romelu tribute contest. I think it will be a brilliant contest, and I hope everybody that's listening. I'll update you on the start, but we'll do the draw the moment the final announcement is made. And Bobby, I cannot thank you enough for always finding the time to join us on the panel here. Your brilliant inputs is something that I cherish so much, and we'll always look to bring you back. I don't know if you're still with us now. If you're still with us, that's okay, because we have quite a lot of stuff to talk about. But I will bring it back to the Roman Abramovich statement later on. But let's stick with this one for a bit. LSC, coming to you, your thoughts on the Lukaku, rumors that his the Inter Milan are looking to arrange a meeting with his camp. And the first thing that will come to mind, maybe they're trying to see if they can bring him back. And I'd argue that he'd be willing to take a wage cut because it's a World Cup year and it's not guaranteed a starting place under Thomas Tuchel. And you could argue also it's not been all rosy for him at Chelsea Football Club. And if Inter Milan offers him a way out, he'd take it, because Inter Milan is only viable, you could argue, option for Chelsea, because we still owe them money. So the chances of us selling to another club and losing money, because you can't come back to them and say, okay, look, we lost money, so we have to pay you this amount. It's not that they don't care how much you sold them. You'd have to pay them 17 million plus you owe them. So your thoughts on the whole talk?
Yeah, there are several ways of looking at it. If it's true that Lukaku have any hand in this, he's trying to make a negotiation of wanting out of a club after just one season, it means he doesn't trust himself. It means he didn't believe in the project in the first place. It means that the rumors that he only came here because Inter couldn't pay his wages are true. So I don't believe any of this news anyway. But if it's true, then that would be one way of looking at it. And like you rightly said, it would be easier giving Lukaku back to Inter than selling him as well. So if that's the case, yeah, it's better for him to go, because I don't want drama next season, because there's no way we are not going to experience the same thing that we saw this past season. We are still going to have a front three that is ineffective, a front three that is not, they don't know what they're doing. They make a Tuchel system be questioned. I am of the belief that the system is not a problem. It's always been the personnel meant to execute it. So if he remains at our club, I guarantee you it's going to be drama galore. It's going to be drama because it's a World Cup here. I know that his position at Belgian national team is not, it's not doubting. It's not in doubt anyway. But there are still going to be ramblings around, and I don't want that. We want a fresh start. We don't want people that are going to cause drama. Just 2 games. If he miss 2 games, the press are going to start writing about it, whether Lukaku is involved or not. Sometimes these players don't have control, and when they are even interviewed, the journalists, they go ahead with leading questions, and some of these players, they are not experienced enough on how to tackle these questions, in a way that doesn't affect the club. So these have been some of the reasons. Pulisic being one of the examples. They use leading questions on him, and then he just answer the question, and then you think, oh my God, he wants to leave. Things like that. So we don't want drama next season. If he wants to leave, let him go. If he wants to stay, fair enough. But something has to change, because we need a response. We need a response to Man City just signed Haaland. We need a response. I told you yesterday or 2 days ago that we are not going to get Perisic, and we'll see what's happening now with Tottenham. So we need a response. And if Lukaku remains here, it will be very difficult to get even a better striker in.
Yeah. Again, I want to take this opportunity to catch up, and then I'll come to Nick. Nick, I hope you're still there. Let me catch up with the chat. I'll come back to you in a bit. And again, signing Lukaku isn't easy. We've established that already for quite some time now, except if there's a chance we can find a solution with Inter Milan, he goes back there, which isn't easy either because they'd expect him to take a pay cut, which I don't think he'd do, except if he really wants to be in top form going into the World Cup. Then he might say, "I'll take a wage cut and play for you guys." Because if his situation at Chelsea remains as it is at this point, I think it will be very difficult to find a buyer. But that's, by the way, again, Origi was the name that Bobby was looking for. Thank you very much, Book of Eden. Again, I want to say hello to my brother, Rick Blue. How are you doing, Rick Blue? I hope you're good. Always good to see you here, brother. Let me know how you did. I hope say everything did okay on your side. Nice to see you again here, brother. I still a buyback clause for Tammy Abraham. I think there is, but again, I don't want to risk it. And Tammy may end up being Lukaku 2.0. I've watched him play for Roma.
There too, so I don't really think about that.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Again, I'll come back on the panel. Again, I wouldn't want to see that happen. And Chama here, my sister says, I went to read the Roman statement. His era has really come to an end. Again, I'm avoiding reading it. I don't want anything that will make me cry on my show again. Like when I read his first statement, when it was clear he was going to sell the club, I was in denial until I read that statement. But I think I'll be able to read this one today without crying in public. But that's, by the way, Freddy says the World Cup argument doesn't hold water to me. He's not giving up millions of pounds per year for a couple of games in the World Cup. This is, as much as this is true, I think it's hilarious, really. You name a Belgian striker better than him anyway. I think that's the truth. Again, I think Bobby argued that, and LSC confirms that his place at the World Cup isn't, it's not at stake. I think he keeps it as long as he plays at all for Chelsea Football Club. So again, that's very, very funny. Yeah, Batshuayi is still there, but Batshuayi can measure up to Lukaku in terms of his performances for Belgium. He scored a few good goals, few good goals for them, but they prefer Lukaku anytime, any day. Again, that's, by the way, and Glenn, thank you for that input there, naming all the Belgium strikers. Again, this is my brother, Ankit from Almighty Blue Sports Plus. If you haven't, please be sure to go check out his channel and subscribe. You will enjoy his content, and let him know I sent you. Declad, did you just wake up? I think Declad he has the link to the panel, but probably still sleeping maybe. Thank you, Roman. Thank you very much, Roman. Again, excuse me, people. Again, it's allergy. Constance says, crazy to think, though, our club that apparently started the war. Yeah, exactly. The whole thing makes it seem as if Chelsea Football Club started the war in Ukraine, but unfortunately we have to deal with that. My brother says, let's all hit the like button. Needs to get to over 100. Yeah, we need to. We're closing at 67, but we have 145 people watching, so we should have more likes. And please, it takes just a second. Please just like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're closing into 2,000 subscribers. We have 1,969 subscribers. So that milestone is not far-fetched. Here says, yes, I too want Roman to be able to go to Stamford Bridge and say his goodbyes at some point. I bet you if that happens, the stadium will erupt, all right, but some people will break down in tears. It will be like a Michael Jackson show where some people will even pass out for seeing him for the final time in the stadium. I hope in the future, he'll be allowed to come watch Chelsea games, because you cannot, even in a million years, talk about Chelsea Football Club without talking about Roman Abramovich. But that's, by the way, hopefully I can be there too. If I can, I'd try the best I can to be there. that's okay. That's a conversation with them. Congrats in advance, Coachila, bro. 2K. Hopefully, we get the channel to that tonight. I am hoping we can get to 2K subscribers tonight. Couldn't agree more with Bobby. Bobby always makes some great points. I am glad if Lukaku is leaving, but it's not that simple. It's a complicated situation. Him leaving isn't that easy. Well, now, well done. Yes, well done, my brother. Always nice to see you here. And I'm glad to say you find time come join us here. Sorry, I have to speak Pidgin. He spoke Pidgin. I have to show him that I can do that too. Which club would be? Again, we'll come back to that. Let me bring it back to the panel. I'll try and catch up with the comments later because it's quite a lot, and I don't have a studio engineer. It's just me alone. So, Nick, your thoughts on everything we've talked about regarding Romelu Lukaku? We'll come back. I think we'll round up the show with a talk with the Roman Abramovich statement.
Yeah, well, I've talked about Lukaku a lot. You know, it's up to him. If he wants to stay, you know, it's up to Tuchel as well to make him play better, get the team involved with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a Lukaku problem. It's a team problem. So if he's going to stay, looks like he's going to stay. I don't believe Inter Milan really want him as rumours. I think he's going to be here next season. And I will give him, like I said before, I'll give him to January to, you know, turn it around. And he's going to have pre-season, like we said before, with everyone, with new players. So, you know, maybe they can find a way to play, you know, around him better than we were. But if that doesn't improve, then he has to go. Like Chelsea will lose they're going to lose too much. Are they willing to lose all that money? Plus the 70 million for Inter Milan? I don't know. It's very hard. But, you know, I think they did sit down and talk. His agent with Tuchel, not with Boehly. I think they talked with Tuchel, you know, to see what he said. We don't know. What did he say to him? I want to stay and prove myself. I want to go. If he wants to go, he should go now. You know, Chelsea should do everything to let him go and get another main striker before the season starts. But it's very hard situation. But for me, I don't mind if he stays. If he stays and proves, you know, he can play. We know he can play. It's just he has to get used to the players. Yeah, you know, so far he's not used to them. So let's see what happens with that.
Okay, let me ask you this, Nick. Can I? What I want to ask you is this. You made some great points. Again, that's a chance. But one thing I disagree with you, that Thomas Tuchel changing his system to accommodate Lukaku, he said that openly. But that's, by the way, there's also a chance, something you said. I know you've always been hopeful that things can, change for good for Romelu Lukaku. Yeah. But I think if you ask me, I'd say it's becoming way too familiar cases of Alvaro Morata. What's his name? What's this Spanish we signed from Liverpool? Fernando Torres. It's becoming way too familiar. We only see, every now and then we see flashes of what they're capable of doing, but no consistency. Now, in the case of Lukaku, something you said I like is if it doesn't work, we let him go and we go away. I think now is the time. We've seen that he won't work. It will be difficult for it to work. So if Inter Milan are trying to arrange a meeting with his camp, I think this is the time to say if maybe we can come to a compromise with Inter Milan and say, okay, you take him back. Because selling it to another club is very difficult. Him going to another club, it's very, very difficult too. And I think it was True Blue that reminded us the other day that we still owe them 70 million plus, and that makes the whole situation even more complex. But go ahead if you were still saying something.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I only want Lukaku to say if they can, find a way to make him start scoring again and be a better player with a team around him. Don't forget, we're going to have new players now, so it might change something. We don't know. But, like me, I prefer he goes now, really. If he wants to go, let him go. To do something with Inter Milan, get a player from there, change, do a change, swap deal, something. And let him go if he wants to go. It's no good having a player who doesn't want to play for Chelsea. That's for sure. So, I want him to, I want Lewandowski to come. It's still a possibility if he goes. But it's hard because Benfica, he wants to play for Barcelona for some reason. I don't know why he's so, fixed with Barcelona. But if Chelsea, if Boehly wants, if Lukaku says, right, I'm going, there's a deal, we've made a deal with Inter Milan, you can go back, then they should do everything they can to get Lewandowski from Barcelona. Don't let Barcelona take him. If they,
Ideally, I was going to ask you for your ID if you didn't say Lewandowski.
Yeah, no, I would say Lewandowski every time, everywhere. No, because it'd be a great signing, that's why, and we're going to have goals. But other than Lewandowski, I've been thinking, who are we going to get as a main striker if Lukaku goes? For me, there's not many out there we can really go for because they're all settled. A big striker. Yeah, that's why I keep saying Lewandowski because there's a chance for him, and Tuchel does like him. But it's hard situation. Unless we play with a striker, if anything, we can play with Dembele. I think is coming in. Koulibaly's already on his way in, and Koundé is nearly finished. He's done. So these players are coming. And
Okay.
But and regarding what Bobby said, Roman, he will come to the bridge one day. He ain't going to be this next season, but he will be. Hopefully, the next. They can't just keep him out from going where he wants.
Yeah.
They can do it for a time, but they can't do it forever. He will be, as a fan. I know that, and we're going to show. What we think of him. We already have. I mean, I'm every single day I'm tweeting out, "Thank you, Roman," and I won't stop till I see the guy. So yeah. All
right.
The news is good. It's done. Boehly is there. I know Monday is the official thing, but it's still it's more or less official anyway. They come out with a statement today. It wasn't yesterday. I thought it'd be yesterday, Friday, but it's still good. It came out today in the morning, and we move now. We move. We're ready to go. With a new era with Boehly and Tuchel to see what Tuchel can do without all these all these players from different managers. He's going to have his own team. He can choose his own team.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back to that. But your point on Lukaku, you still saying anything on Lukaku, or should I just move ahead?
Yeah, I said about Lukaku. Yeah, if he doesn't want to be here, he has to go. You got to lose a lot of money, but Chelsea must find a way to sort that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Nick, for that good input right there. Ty, please. I don't know. I was going to ask you. Can you please be patient a bit? Let me just catch up with the chat, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that. True Blue says, quickie from me, data almost done. Thank you, Romana, for taking my club 33 years from the abyss to realizing all my dreams and growing the success and fan base, turning it into giant. Again, that's the truth. Chelsea is a global brand right now. You could say all thanks to Roman Abramovich, and that's why we will be hosting that brilliant show, the Roman Abramovich tribute contest, of which if you win, you get $150. Let me try and catch up here. Next year, we will be champions of Europe again. Again, it depends on how we approach the rebuild. If we are not strategic about it, that's a chance we're not going to win anything next season. But let me just say this. I think we should all dial down our expectations, because too many changes, which means with the players needs time to get to know each other very well, develop chemistry, and that takes time. Again, rebuilding a team is not something that happens with just like how you snap your finger like this. So please, we must watch our expectations. Again, let me see if there's anything to address here. Excuse my language. Okay, why did I even highlight that? Again, in Fahim, again, it says, hi, Fahim, just saying hi to everybody there. Considering what happened with Big Rom, would you consider bringing back Tammy Abraham? To me, in my opinion, I'll say no. I don't think they don't differ. The two players don't differ that much in terms of their abilities, their build. And also, you could argue their deficiencies nearly the same, if you ask me. But that's me. It says, I agree. I think it's best for everyone if Lukaku leaves because he just doesn't suit Titi's style of play. He is still a very good player. There's no denying that. But if a marriage doesn't work, you go for a divorce, and I think that would be the best option right now for everybody to be happy. Cheers, Glenn. And this is my brother CFC Fahim. Please, if you haven't, go check out his channel and be sure to subscribe and let him know I sent you. Says no to Tammy Abraham. He's good, but average. Again, that's your opinion. But what I say is a good player. Is he good? He's good. But he's no different from Romelu Lukaku and will struggle under Thomas Tuchel. And that's probably what Thomas Tuchel avoided on time, letting him know he won't fit into his system. So he had to leave. And he is where things are really working out for him at this point. So I wouldn't change anything for that. I think it's best I come to you immediately because there's quite some stuff to catch up with here. And if I try to catch up with everything here, then we're not going to leave this place. I'll try my best to read everybody's comments. And Fairboy here says, let me see, where's that comment? I'm looking for it now. It's a bit slow. At times, clubs can be disingenuous. Inter were the same team that sold Lukaku for the sake of wages. Now you're coming up for a player whom you said was making you suffer loss. They should be okay. Yeah. Again, coming back to the panel, Ty, your thoughts on the Lukaku argument, so we can move on to the next topic.
I mean, reports coming out about Inter being interested and things like that. I've listened to what everybody has been saying about it. They want Lukaku. The best thing, if Lukaku wants to leave, they're fine with him leaving. And I mean, for me, I've always said this, and I've said this 3 times on your shows. That for me, I always thought that signing Lukaku made no sense to me, and considering what we were trying to do and the profile and the personality that we had developed in terms of playing false 9, having inside forwards type of system. So to me, I was wondering what was the plan with him. I was thinking I was going to alter something to play to Lukaku, which is to me unrealistic to do that. But I mean, to me, I didn't know what to expect. And Fahim has said something that I 100% agree with in the chat, and it's that we play better with inside forwards, and football is going in that direction where you don't really see teams having
football is progressing.
Focal. Yeah, it's progressing. You don't have like a center forward or a target man that is just there and you create for him to score goals. It's where everybody is creating, and even in the past, that's the personality that we had, where we were creating for each other. You had Lampard creating for Drogba creating for Kalu creating for this, and it goes down like that. Then he had Mata, Oscar, Hazard, people like that. That's the attitude that we were starting to have. Football is changing, so inside forwards is the way to go because they create for each other, and it also reduces predictability because when you have a striker, the defenders are going to be focusing mostly on the striker because they know that he is the end result player. That's the player that you want to see put the ball in the back of the net, which is why you see a lot of top teams and even Arsenal are looking for Jesus. Jesus is not really a striker. He has played in the past, but he's more like a wide forward or inside forward, and that's what they're looking for because they notice that football is going in the direction that you can't really be having strikers who all they do is try to put the ball into the back and they can't help the team going forward. Players like Benzema, Lewandowski, players like those are the players that can actually succeed, even though they're getting closer to retirement. It is a case where they're able to create for their teammates. They can get assists while scoring goals. Lukaku is the contrast that he isn't that personality. and that really isn't his fault because he's been spoiled in a sense where a manager is playing to his strengths, surrounding the system around him. So eventually that's gonna develop an ego in him. Obviously, Tuchel says he doesn't have a big ego, but I mean, sometimes you develop an ego without even knowing you're developing it. So I mean, for me, I think the best thing is that if it's true, I really don't buy into it. I don't really think it's true. I think it's just the media trying to create something because of the interview and things like that. But I think that if it's a case where he's willing to leave, then so be it. Then you sell him. But I mean, if he wants to stay, then I guess like you keep saying, it's not easy to sell him. And if he wants to stay, I mean, I really don't know what you can do. But for me, I think the priority should be getting inside forwards and not trying to find a striker really, because a striker isn't really the way to go now because football has been changing, and I think inside forwards is better because it allows you to not really have that predictability, and then defenders they won't be able to know who to mark because you'll have each player being going wide, coming central, and then that leaves them susceptible to conceding. So I think the best thing to do is to go with inside forwards and not really look for a target man striker to replace Lukaku should he leave or should he want to leave.
Again, you made some very, very brilliant point there. I think football has progressed beyond the days where every team has an out and out striker, if you want to phrase it that way. Does that mean that they're extinct? No, they're not. But we're seeing clubs use them less and less and less and less, even more. Again, and Thomas Tuchel isn't the one to use an out and out striker, and that shows you clearly. Lukaku, being as brilliant as he was at Inter Milan, is less likely to happen at Chelsea Football Club. Again, the football has changed. You could call number 9s of these days hybrids. They should be able to drop deep, support the play, and all that. Again, but that's by the way, Tobago. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah. Go ahead. You wanted to say something. Yeah. I know Tobago understands.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to just make a little point, a brief point on what Tayo is saying here. And I agree with him that football has changed and the sort of center forwards that are required, they are players who should be able to play. They should be able to be part of the build-up, right? So I understand that. But you see, it is not also wrong to have a static number 9, right? They also help the inside forwards.
No, it's not wrong. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so if Lukaku is a static number 9 and he can draw the inside forwards into the play, then that's good. You see, the problem with Lukaku is he doesn't have the technique. You understand? And that is the problem. He cannot control the ball very well. We had someone like Giroud. Giroud is not that mobile, right? But whenever he played for us, he made our team look better because he has the technique. He can play some of the football and he can hold the ball well. So that made him effective. But as Ty is saying, I agree with him 100% that we need players who are much more mobile and much more flexible. And he cited an example. He cited Benzema. He cited Lewandowski. We also have players of that caliber who are all coming up. And as I was almost saying earlier, I saw 2 players in Nkunku. He's a very good player. He knows how to play the football. And I found one player whom perhaps none of you have heard before. He's called Antoine Semenyo from Ghana. Antoine Semenyo from Ghana.
So you're talking about your brother, let's be honest here.
Yes, I'm talking about my brother.
Okay.
He's a very, very good center forward. He's very good. He can hold the ball up. He can dribble a bit. He can pass. Right? We have these center forwards there. So, of course, if Lukaku doesn't work out, we have these players there. They could help our team. So, for me, that's my take. That's my take on that.
All right. I'll come back to just Tobago just quickly. Let me ask people in the chat, just like Tobago himself who's on the panel says here, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're getting there. We're at 1,973 which means we have how many? Which needs just 27 subscribers more to get to 2,000 subscribers. And we also have 81 likes. So if you're watching, if you haven't, please take a second to just like the video. It's free. Nobody will ask you to pay for it. Just like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Or let me just put it this way. If you're happy that finally we're getting a new owner and things, will come back to normal at Chelsea Football Club, please celebrate it by liking that video and also subscribing to the channel. So Tobago, let us know your opinion regarding the Lukaku argument.
First of all, big up, guys. Do you hear me?
Yeah, big up to you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
You know about Lukaku, as Ty said, sometimes we believe too much into the media, and then sometimes the media can just make Chelsea fans crazy sometimes. Like, give them what they want about Lukaku. First of all, I don't think selling Lukaku will be the solution now, because if we sell him now, who will we buy to replace him? Also again, and we saw an article said Tuchel wanted Kane, Lewandowski, Haaland, and then they offered him Lukaku. Yes, that, but he also approved the Lukaku deal. If he didn't approve it, he said, no, I don't want Lukaku. I'd rather wait until the next season. It's fine. I will be cool with that. And then we can go to the next season and find the other striker that we want. But since he approved Lukaku, then he need to make sure that Lukaku works. I know he tried so many times. That's Lukaku's fault. But from now on, as I said, I don't think Lukaku is the problem. Our scouting is the problem. We need to fix that. If the coach wants this certain kind of player, they should give him, not the other way around. So hopefully under Todd Boehly, we'll see something like that. If the coach wants this player or this similar kind of play, they give him. That's it. And also, Lukaku is a counter-attack player. We saw that in Inter Milan, at Everton, at the West Brom. So we buying him at Chelsea thinking that he might change. That was a mistake. But I'll support Lukaku. I don't support our scouts.
I honestly, I understand your argument that he okayed it because they wouldn't have signed any if they didn't say, okay, I can work with him. But that's by the way. Now we're looking at a marriage that isn't working, no matter how you see it. Or how, there's been issues here and there, and we're not going to go into it. And the only way to solve a marriage that isn't working is just everyone to part ways. And if the opportunity calls, then let him go. If really Inter are looking to talk with his camp, and if the intention is to let him go, again, but it's a complicated situation, one that isn't easy.
Coach, can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
So if you sell Lukaku, who should we buy?
Can I also tell you something before I answer that question?
Cool.
I think it was declared that even argued if we can buy Erling Haaland. I think it was declared and argued if we can buy Erling Haaland, that we should just leave the team the way it was, and that would have been a better option for us. Because whether you like it or not, I'm not going to go into that argument deeply, and I'll answer your question. Whether you like it or not, Lukaku has created more problems for us than he's been able to solve for us. I know he's our highest goal scorer, but I still argue that tomorrow. But we're not going into that right now. My point is this: should we be looking to sign any other out and out striker under Thomas Tuchel? I'd say no, because it's a big mistake. If True Blue were in the chat right now, he'd say the same thing. If he was in the chat, he'd say the same thing. Because he's even saying that Amanda Breuer will be looking at us and say, wait, this guy doesn't like to play with a defined number 9, like just in terms of out and out number 9. Why am I going back to the club to do? But but the truth is Breuer has more chance of making it here because he gets more involved in in terms of being an all-round player, I think is better than Lukaku, but Lukaku is more experienced. But that's my argument. So my point is, if he goes, I'm not going to be looking to sign any other person in his mold. We'll get in a forward, but not in his mold. You got my argument. He's a fine player, but he simply won't work under Thomas Tuchel. And Thomas Tuchel has come out and said, I'm not willing to change my system to accommodate a single player.
Yes, I can agree with you. But you remember last season, we created so many chances and then our attackers were missing them. That's the reason why we go out for a striker. So
and that's where
now,
signing Lukaku doesn't make sense. Before we signed Lukaku, again, we're going to go down that path again. Before signing Lukaku, we should have known that the issue was just putting away chances. And we should have known that signing Lukaku means we'd have to adjust the way we play to accommodate him, for him to be as prolific as he was at Inter Milan. That's where when I look at it, say, what the heck was our scout thinking? There's some argue Lukaku was Roman was the one that pushed for him to be signed for the club. But the scout must have been consulted. They must have looked at it and said, okay, I guess we can make it work. Which means they're all just yes sir, yes ma scouts. So a scout that knows that the scouts that know their job very well would have said, I know this guy is a good player, but I don't think he's going to work under this manager. Look at what he did with Mauro Icardi at PSG. Look at his team at Borussia Dortmund and all that. But again, hopefully we'll learn from this one. But go ahead if you have anything else to say, so we can just move.
Coach, let me come on for something I just remembered now.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're saying the scouts, got it wrong and all that, right? But when they asked Tuchel, look, we had four choices: Haaland, Lukaku, Lewandowski, and Kane. When we couldn't get Kane, that was no chance in that. Haaland, we could have got him for crazy money, plus we had to play his agent and his brother as well. So Chelsea decided not to, and they asked Tuchel, this is like this with Haaland, Kane. What do you think? Is Lewandowski? We couldn't get him that time. They tried for Lewandowski as well, and he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I want Lukaku because Chelsea wanted a striker, and most of it come from the fans. We were all shouting for a striker, someone to score. And if you remember, before he came, we were going crazy because we couldn't score, and we were all for Lukaku in the beginning." Yeah, Lukaku came, he done that silly interview, you're right. But
I'm never going to talk about the interview again.
No, I'm not talking about the interview, I'm just saying what's going on.
Yeah, but go ahead, yeah.
But, we can't say it's a scouts. It's Tuchel. Tuchel is the one who wanted Lukaku in the end. No one else. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. And now he's here with us. Tobacco has a point. I'll be saying what Tobacco's saying. We have to go in pre-season, get the players we have. If we can't get rid of Lukaku, I don't mind if he goes. If he wants to go, let him go. But if he wants to stay, let him stay. But Tuchel has to find a way to get everyone playing together. Not selfish players like Mason Mount, Pulisic, Ziyech, all of them. They want to try and score and be the hero. That ain't Chelsea Football Club. They have to play like a team like we always used to, like we, in the past. So, that's another. So I think he will stay. No, it's up to him. He's going to stay. It's up to Tuchel to get it right. And Lukaku to improve, of course. But you can't just blame Lukaku. Because Tuchel doesn't want to change the system. If you're a good manager, you change the system. Like, if it was Jose Mourinho or Antonio Conte, we wouldn't have these problems because he wouldn't stand for players trying to be the hero. They wouldn't stand for it one bit. So Tuchel has a lot to learn. I love Tuchel. I want him to succeed, but he's got a lot of things wrong this season. He's got some right, but a lot wrong. So let's see what happens now.
Coachila, I want to make a response to Nick.
Yeah,
on
quickly.
that
That's
issue
why
of
we're
change.
here. That's why we're here. But I want to get to LSG as soon as possible. He hasn't spoken for a while. Go ahead. Go ahead, fair boy.
Oh, okay. So I want to respond to Nick on the issue of creating a system that would suit someone like Lukaku. Do you know the problems that come with creating a system around one player? Do you know the problems that could come? Remember Messi and Barcelona. Do you know why Barcelona always struggles when Messi is not playing for them? You get the point. So if you build a system around Lukaku, let's say Lukaku gets injured.
This is a
Let him
different.
fin-
Do you think that?
Let him finish, Nick. Let him finish.
Do you think the team will ever play the same? They are not going to play the same. So it's important that the manager, what do you call it, provides a template, provides a system that suits majority of the players in the team, so that if one person even gets out of the team, it does not affect the team that much. I understand that we bought a huge sum of money to buy Lukaku, and I think if it's Thomas Tuchel's signing, then it's a huge mistake on his part, because there are many strikers who are prolific, but as well could fit our system. And that is why I also answered to Bago, whether if we sell Lukaku, we can get replaced. I think I've mentioned it already. I mentioned two players. I mentioned Nkunku and Antoine Semenyo. These two players, they are good enough to replace Lukaku, and they are prolific. If you like, you can go check their numbers, their stats, right? So for me, I disagree when we say that build a team around Lukaku. If Lukaku says that he's that good a baller, right, then he should be able to play with the rest of the team. Okay? If he's not that good a baller, then it means he's not fit for the team. So we cannot keep him around. If he wants to still stay, then he has to learn. That's what I'm saying. Because if you build a team around one player, when that one player gets out of the team, that is it. The system is collapsed. Okay? But you want to have a consistent template, a template that is already there, which a lot of your players are able to play in. Then when one player is out, you can still maintain the same quality if that one player is out of the team. So for me, I disagree that we build a system around Lukaku.
Yeah, but
Lukaku should rather put into the system.
Fair boy. I didn't say play the system around Lukaku. I said Tuchel has to find a way to get everyone, play together. That's different
and that is
from
one
the
realistic.
system.
And Nick, let me ask you this. And Nick, quickly, while I go through the chat, can you check your Twitter DM, please, quickly, brother? Okay. And I'll come back to you in a bit. Let me try and catch up with the chat.
Yeah.
I think I have a question that I'm going to ask the panel in a bit. It is the best. Again, let me just cut. Again, there's quite a lot. I'm just going to skip through them, except if I see a question. But I've highlighted one that I want to ask the panel. I will ask LSG after Nick's response. Says, call them wingers or inside forwards, whatever you want to call them. Again, what does you say? Or inside forwards, they're still one-dimensional and slow. Again, that's when you buy a player to get the best of another player. What happens when the players get injured? Again, good question there. Let me highlight that one. I think we will address that one there. Quite some comments here to get through. I might slow down a bit. Oli knew how and when to get into. Oli was good for us. I don't know why we let him go, even though we didn't have another striker there. But again, it's Thomas Tuchel getting rid of out-and-out strikers because he doesn't like to play that way. But Oli was able to get involved in the play. He wasn't static in the box, and he's a good passer of the ball too. Again, he makes good runs, and that's one thing I like. Says they're just having a conversation between them. Let me see this one. No one is disputing Lukaku's goal scoring stats, but man has created more trouble than solutions, to be honest. Again, that's the situation at Chelsea Football Club. He hasn't solved problems for us. He's created more. And then again, Coach, I've done that, brother, and I know you're already in the panel. Liam says, I believe if he stays in with a good preseason under his belt, we will get a lot more from him next season. Look at the way he drops deep with Belgium and legs again, but he doesn't do that at Chelsea, and I don't know why. Again, I hope that happens. If that happens, I take it. But I think right now we're better off. Both parties are better off parting ways. He goes to where he can be accommodated, and he starts firing on all cylinders. Again, I've highlighted this, and I want us to answer that question. You're on the panel, so no need reading that one there. Let me see if there's anything else to read here. Why are we back to Lukaku? Again, it's the conversation. That's why we're here. We're talking about the possibility of in-game to Inter, but I think we should round off the Lukaku topic and move on to something else. I think it's going to cause some confusion here if you want. Nick, the question I wanted to ask you this: you said something. You referred to Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte. The truth is, and Nick, if I called in any time, don't feel like I'm fighting you. I'm calling in to object or say something immediately because I picked up something from what you're saying. I hope you understand, brother.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Okay, so before I go to LSE, you reference Antonio Conte, how well he do under Antonio Conte and how well he do under Jose Mourinho. Those are managers that are known to play with out and out number nines.
Yeah.
And if that number 9 is able to get involved in the play more often and it's good on the ball, better for them, just as Kane is doing for Antonio Conte right now. Kane is an out-and-out number 9, but he's a creator too. He even likes to drop deep naturally to get involved in the play and then create the spaces for Son and others to play alongside him. And he's a fine pass the ball too. He can fit in as a number 10. That's the modern striker for you. Lukaku isn't as capable of Kane. And believe me, Lukaku would do well under Antonio Conte because he likes to drop deep in most cases if he play bigger teams, soak in the pressure and then hit the opposing team on a counter. Mourinho does that too. All they care is to win. They don't care about dominating the game. And that's the more reason why it would be best for both parties to part ways.
Yeah, but look, when coach, there must be a way. He's going to be with us. I don't think he's going to go now. He's going to be with us. He's going to have pre-season, new players. So it's the manager. The coach has to get these players the way he wants to play. I'm not saying Tuchel to change anything, but he has to get them involved, get Lukaku involved more from the other players, as well. Lukaku, I've seen him in the past. He doesn't just stay up. He does come back. He defends the corners very well. How many times he's the one who gets the headers when we defend? There's a lot to Lukaku can do. But if they sit down and talk properly, I'm sure that, Tuchel can find a way. It doesn't have to be Mourinho or Conte. I'm just saying, if it was them two, they wouldn't have all these, all our players trying to be heroes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, again, you make a good argument there. What I like is said, now I'll bring you back, please. LSE hasn't spoken for a while. Please, let me bring in LSE and then I'll come back to you again. LSE, your thoughts? Let's round off the Lukaku argument and move on because we still have more stuff to talk about. Or else, if we continue talking about discussing Lukaku, it will never end.
Yeah, like I said before, if he wants to leave, let him leave. If he doesn't want to leave, let him keep his mouth shut. In fact, they should sign an NDA not to speak to the press, not to do nothing with the press, all right? We made a terrible mistake of getting him involved because of the problems we experienced last season, last 2 seasons, all right? We know there are incredible amount of chances we've created during the time period, and we just needed someone to put it away. And the proof that we can play with our team exceptionally well with our team and even score more goals was during the time he injured. I think it was around late September and October. He was out of the game, was out of the team, and we were scoring goals left, right, and center. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. The form dropped again. So we need to do something. There was no need for him if Werner actually did his job. All right? There was no need for him. And most of the teams we play in the Champions League the last 2 seasons now, we would have scored 5-6 goals. Case in point, even in final, we could have scored 3 goals in the final. 3 clear goals. It's just a case of not being clinical enough. So it's just a question of getting similar players that we have now, but that are more clinical, that can have that interplay, that are more clinical in front of goal and that can shoot from distance. We are lacking these characteristics of players. Chelsea used to have them. I remember Hansenberg. One of the things I liked about him. Same thing with Lampard. They used to try from distance. Drogba, the same thing. But none of these guys are doing it. So there's a real surgical operation needs to occur in our club right now, for us to move forward or to even compete. And the idea that bringing in a lot of players, might change our form or even inhibit our ability to compete. I don't believe that. Because if you remember, we brought in players in 2003, 2004 season. Then we brought in players 2004, about 5 seasons, about 9 players or so. And we won the league. We came second the previous league. Then we came first the next one with Mourinho, that after Ranieri was sacked. So we can do it. It's just a question of if he wants to maintain the system, bring in the personnel that can pull in the goals. And from this last season that just passed, we learned something that scoring 1 goal, 2 goals is never going to be enough. If we want to win the league, if we want to compete at any level, we need to score as many goals as possible. So the conversation of Lukaku still being at the club, we've had enough time, we have enough empirical evidence to suggest that there is no way it's going to improve, irrespective of who we play alongside him. So let's cut our losses and move on.
Yeah. Finally, let me just get Eric Blue's thoughts on the Lukaku comment and topic, and then I'll catch up with the chat, and I think we'll have to move on or else, because there's so many angles to which to start talking about this Lukaku issue, and it's never going to end. So my brother Eric Blue, how you there, bro? And give me your thoughts on what you think about the possibility or the rumors that the Inter Milan are looking to talk with Lukaku's camp, and if that's the case, probably they're trying to see if they can bring him back to the club. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I actually disagree with a lot of what I've heard so far, to be honest.
You have every right to.
I don't want to, I don't want to stick with this topic, and I know you want to move on. So
Yeah.
I'll try to be as concise as I can. But and this is not me, we know how much I, was in favor of the move, even though I had my doubts about the player and I had my doubts about this team. Lukaku was never supposed to be the fix to what, all our problems offensively. And that is part of the problem. And I think Lukaku, we don't need to build a team around him. We just need better players, or players who can get the best out of him. That was always what we were supposed to do with that signing. So I refuse to believe that, everything is Lukaku's fault. Yes, maybe most of it is his fault. Maybe 60, 70%, maybe even 80%. But I still think we have a attacking problem. I don't think we are fine without him. That's why we went to, pay all that money to buy a striker. The team creates chances, and we should score more based on the chances we create. That's fair. But I also think that we can create better chances. The quality of our chances isn't good enough, and we can create more chances than we do. I think that's fair to say. So that is what I would say about that. Lukaku, don't expect him to get sold anytime soon. So Tuchel needs to try to buy players who he can work better with, and at the same time buy players who also fit his system. It's a difficult balance, but hopefully we can, actually get something out of him while he's still here, because I don't expect him to get sold. So that's all I'll say about that. I don't think Lukaku is going to be a success like we were hoping at the start, especially with how much we paid for him. But hopefully, he's not a complete waste of money. So I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, but I agree with you that he's not just a complete waste of money. Is he good? He's a good player. But can you address this? Address this before I go to the comment, Eric. Now, I know you followed Thomas Tuchel from Dortmund, even from Mainz, if you prefer, to PSG, to Chelsea Football Club. You will see he doesn't like to play with defined, or out and out number nines. Let me just phrase, or traditional number nines. Even when he had Icardi at PSG, he hardly used them. So it doesn't look like things at any time. And like you see, you mentioned something. Lukaku will never be as prolific as he was at Inter, at Chelsea.
No.
Which means there's no chance he'd be a regular.
No.
So which also brings go ahead. Say what you want to say, brother.
No, you're right. Even at Dortmund, he used Aubameyang. Aubameyang isn't a out and out striker. He's like a winger.
Yeah.
So, okay, at PSG, you can say he used Cavani, but then Cavani was being phased out. He wasn't really involved as much. He was relying on Mbappe and Neymar mainly, playing a...
And he sold Cavani, right?
Yeah. And he was playing a 4-2-2-2 with Neymar and Mbappe up front. So he never really utilized a player like that. So yes, we have to question our scouts. I keep questioning our scouts.
Yeah, exactly. Why did they do that?
It's an embarrassment. Our scouts are an embarrassment. I think most of them need to go. I don't know how Todd Boehly is going to do it. Maybe he's going to phase them out gradually. But for me, everybody needs to go except maybe Czech. Marina needs to go. Bruce Bock needs to go. The chief scout for our first team needs to go. They're not good enough. And the proof is in the pudding. Let's not, beat around the bush with these PR narratives, and I'm not interested in things like this. If they're good enough, it will show. So, that's it. They need to go, and we need to have a whole. This is the start of a new era. Things need to change, and they need to. I don't know. Okay, fair enough. Things don't need to change drastically because sometimes you just need to be very careful with that. But
you have to be strategic about it.
Yes, but there need to be major changes without a doubt. It's not good enough.
Yeah, good argument there. I think we can all agree. Yeah, again, I don't know how else to phrase it. The Lukaku's case is way, way too complicated. If you want to phrase it that way. Again, if you're not talking, can you mute, please?
But coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make this brief statement, and I think that's all, right? I just want to make this clear. It is practically impossible to get the best out of every player in your squad. It's practically impossible. And I can give an example. You remember when Jose Mourinho was building our squad in the year 2003, 2004? We had very good players like Crespo, right? But Crespo was not a success. He was better than Drogba. He was better than so many of our center forwards at the time. But he did not have a success, right? So even Mourinho, whom we know to be very pragmatic and does not depend on an ideology to win, even knows that it's impossible, virtually impossible to get the best out of each and every player. You understand? So it is a similar situation with someone like Lukaku. You see, if the system that you create is going to get the best out of the entire squad, you don't sacrifice what is best for the team for one player. If you do that, the system will collapse. It's not on a proper or solid foundation. It will collapse, and so it will be thrown back at your face. So that is what you should understand. Of course, you might like certain players. Maybe I might say that I like Hakim Ziyech. I want Hakim Ziyech to play better. But if the system that is being created is not benefiting him, but benefiting the rest of the players, what can I say? I have nothing else to say. We want
everybody. Sorry. I just wanted to ask you a question based on what you just said. So, if I was to ask you, how many players has our system gotten the best out of? Who would you tell me? How many players would you say?
It got the best out of Jorginho. It got the best out of even Alonso. It got the best out of Kai Havertz. It got the best out of Rudiger. It got the best out of what was this young man's name? Aspilicueta. Right? Players who were underperforming.
Okay. So that's 4 players. I don't think he got the best out of Kai Havertz. When you look at his outputs, it's not. I'm not sure
he did.
Yeah, I
he
don't know
did
about
get the
that one.
best out of Kai Havertz. Because if you compare Kai Havertz under Frank Lampard, Kai Havertz was a flop under Frank Lampard, right? And let's not be mistaken. Kai Havertz is not a center forward. He's not a striker. He's a midfielder, right? That is why we refer to him as a false nine. Okay? But you think about it. Compare Chelsea's performances when Kai Havertz played and compare that to the performances Chelsea put out when Lukaku plays. It's clear that Kai Havertz has been much improved under this manager. So he's gotten the best out of Kai Havertz. No two ways. Mason Mount, he's made Mason Mount better. Anyone who argues that Mason Mount is trash is this. Look, even though there are better players than him in our squad, Mason Mount has been the most productive and the most consistent. Let's be real about it, right? So he
Okay,
has
so
improved a lot of our players.
you mentioned six. No, sorry to interrupt you, but you mentioned 6 players in our whole squad. So for me, that's still, that still shows that the scouting isn't good enough. There's some kind of disconnect with the players we have and the kind of football we're trying to play. You can't say that this is such a good system because it's gotten the best out of 6 of our players. We have a full squad of 25 players. So that's just, it's not good enough. It's not even close to being good enough. So that's
Yes.
what I'm just,
Yeah,
I think we
I'm
should
saying.
go ahead, Fairboy. Round off. So maybe ask DJ Sam, and then we'll move to the next topic. Go ahead.
The point I'm making is even if it's 6 players, at least it's like the majority of the first team. If you are to be fair, the majority of the first team has been improved. So at least the system is getting the best out of most of the players in our first team, minimum. You understand? So I don't think that you just change the system just to suit one person. Like you change the system to suit one person and one person alone. As I say, if you do that, let's say you build your system around, let's say, Jorginho or Kovacic, and Kovacic is out of the team, it won't function. Your system that you built, it will collapse. So that is the point I just want to make.
Yeah, again, thank you very much for making that point. We're all entitled to our opinions, and there's always something to learn from one another. But again, DJ, let me quickly bring you in because I really want us to move beyond this Lukaku issue. And the question actually, the whole thing we're talking about Lukaku now, it stems from the question whether the rumors that Inter Milan they've set up a meeting with Lukaku's camp, whether that means he'd be leaving. Yeah. And again, because Inter is the only viable option for us to part way with him, since it isn't really working for him at the club at the moment. Your thoughts on that link? Do you think it's true, or do you think it's just rumors? I really want us to move beyond Lukaku and talk about the next topic.
First of all, as always, it's a pleasure being on your show, Coachila. Big up to everybody on the stream and everyone in the comments.
More thanks to you. More thanks to you, brother.
The Lukaku situation. Look, this thing with Lukaku's been going on for so long now. Ever since he done this interview, reports coming in and out of things. I, for one, think Inter Milan has always. I think him leaving Inter Milan was something he seems like he never wanted to do. I do believe he has his love in the summer. I don't think that will happen. And the only reason why I think that's not going to happen is because I think he only came in last season. Unless there is a ready place replacement for him, and Inter Milan 100% getting rid of Lautaro Martinez, that's the only way this deal is going to go across the line to Inter Milan. I for one cannot see it happening. Is it a right move for him at this moment in time? We don't know. I mean, I know he's had a bad season with Chelsea. Next season, he could be a different situation. It could be a completely different ball game. He might come good with the new players that we might bring in. Is he still a risk? Well, if I for one have always said, look, for me, Erling Haaland was always my number one choice. I think I've gone on a lot of streams and said this, so I'm not going to lie about it. I've said it all along. Erling Haaland was always my number one choice for Chelsea, and I always had put Lukaku down as number 2 if Haaland couldn't come. So obviously we achieved to get Lukaku, but his season has been a disappointment. And for someone who we've gone and spent £97 million on, I'd expect a little bit more from him. So will he be leaving Chelsea in the summer? I don't think so. I don't think he'll go. People are talking about a loan move to Inter Milan. If that was to happen, I don't think that would happen either. Again, it depends on the finances. If Chelsea have got other replacements in there, but I for one will think they probably will give it another try. I know he's got a meeting. He says he's going to set up a meeting with the Todd Boehly group with Todd Boehly when he actually finally takes over, and then I think you'll see it from there. If Todd Boehly thinks that and Tuchel come to an agreement, thinking, look, maybe you're not good, maybe you're better playing your football elsewhere. We then got to ask who's going to pay that kind of money, because loaning him out, we're still going to be paying his fees, and he's on a hefty lot of money as well. So it'll be an interesting situation with Lukaku, but I, for one, don't think he'll be going anywhere in the summer. I think he'll probably stay on at least for one more season. And if things don't work out, then maybe the following season he may go. That's just my take anyway.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And thank you very much for rounding that off for us. Let me try and catch up with the chat, and then we switch to the next topic, which is talking about, we will talk about Perisic moving to Tottenham instead of Chelsea Football Club. I will come back to that in a bit. Again, this is Tribute talking. If playing an out-and-out number 9 worked for Liverpool and City, it's a reason Pep has brought in. There's a reason Pep has brought in 2 strikers. Pep will be playing an out-and-out number 9. Kane was converted by Mourinho. Again, we'll see what happens. Again, Haaland is very mobile. He just won't stand in the box like a statue. I get where that argument is going. Haaland is one of Bundesliga's fastest players. And again, you could argue his physical already. So, well, I think he wouldn't have a problem with the physical aspect of the Premier League. I think that wouldn't be an issue for him. And I think didn't he grow up in England or where? I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think.
Yeah, he was born.
Haaland.
He was born in England. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Chester didn't miss Lukaku again. I want us to move beyond the Lukaku topic. And thank you to everybody. Your contributions has been amazing. It's been a brilliant show so far. Even the contributions in the chat, the panelists also have been brilliant. The attacking problem is the system restricts the attacking players. You can buy and sell anybody. You won't, or you want nothing would change with the system. Again, he stated that he probably Tuchel clearly stated in an interview that he's probably not going to change the system, but we'll see what happens. I think he will probably switch it up a bit come next season. We should have accepted Arsenal's offer of Aubameyang in January. I think it's on a very high wage, and I think that would have been more problems for us. Big up Coachila and the panel. I think our DJs on the panel, no need of reading that. And I don't think there's anything else to address in the chat here. If there is, I will find out, and I'll try the best I can to read it. Now, coming back to the panel, let me start with you, who hasn't spoken for a while. Let's start with LSC. LSC, I know you must have heard that Perisic, that he signed a contract. He signed with Tottenham, our arch rival, if you want. And to me, I'd say that would be a very sweet revenge for them, given how we snatched up William from them, even after he's undergone a medical for them. Your thoughts on that rumor?
Yeah, I think it's going more than a rumor now. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised it happened. And I'm also sure we are going to lose more players. So let's just say now that our ownership situation is sorted, almost. So we'll see how it goes, how fast we can move, I want to say that by 2nd of June, the situation with Kunde is already sorted. I don't want it dragging on, because if that one is already wrapped, at least let's do something. So with this, Tottenham, they are going to be scary because they are not done yet. They are going for Bastoni. These are players that I keep mentioning on this stream. They are going for Bastoni. Imagine that. So if Tottenham can break the duopoly at the top, I won't mind. I won't mind them breaking it. I just don't want this club, racking up titles while we are out there, mocking about. With the way situation, I don't want to have this heart attack FC next season, because if we lose our primary targets, we are going to be left with our B targets, even C plans. So Yeah, it's devastating to say the least because he's one player that will actually. I think he can play on both foot and he can even play on both sides. Can play on both the Rhys James and Ben Chilwell. So
Left center
yeah,
midfield.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He can play any of those wings there, so it would have been much better for us. Then you watch out. We are going to end up with Emerson. Because
Emerson wouldn't be a bad option to have, but I think if we gotten, if we get a Perisic, he will be a great addition given his experience. Given that we need more experience in the team, because lack of experience, you could argue, is the reason
we
why
already have we already have enough sample to know that Emerson was not the one. That was why he went on loan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
then again, I'd prefer Perisic anytime, any day, given
yeah,
his versatility and
yeah,
his ability to play in the left midfield position. Go ahead, let's see.
yeah, and with the injury of Ben Chilwell, so you don't know. You don't know how he's going to be with the coming season. Is he going to have the same velocity, the same pace? He's going to be scared. Something's going to be telling him in there, that something he has to be careful. So we don't know. We're just being, we're going into the new season with the assumption that we are having the same Ben Chilwell that we had.
Yeah, that he
before
comes back the same.
Exactly. That's the assumption we are going with. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the main reason why that position should have been secured by there are still some players out there that can do the job. But if Tuchel is able to get these two players from Inter, which I doubt. I don't know how good the relationship is. Obviously, it's good for them to get one player, but I don't know if they can get another from that team.
Yeah.
So otherwise, we have to go for Bastoni, or someone with
Again,
similar.
we'll talk about the options in a bit. Thank you very much, LSC. That's why I like your input. Usually very different, but it makes sense all the time. There's always something to learn from you when you talk, and that's why I appreciate you being part of the Chelsea Perspective family. Let me try and catch up, but before I do that, please, we have 105 likes, and thank you for 105 likes. You guys are absolute legend. I like to steal the lines of my brother Ogs from the Global Fans channel, and be sure to check out his channel too. But also on the panel, more importantly, be sure to go check out Tide Talks, a CFC YouTube channel. Great content as usual, and that's why I've become brothers with him. And he has a show today, of which there's quite some interesting topic to talk about. And I'll share the link to that show so you don't miss it. But be sure to subscribe his channel, follow Eric Blue, follow LSC, and I'll follow DJ Sab, all of which are great panelists. They know the club very well. And of course, my brother Fahim, be sure to go check out his channel and subscribe to his channel. So here again, I want to say thank you again for 106 likes. If you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel. I wanted to show you guys this. Right now, we are at 1,980 subscribers, just 20 more to get to 2,000 subscribers. And believe me, I know we can get there. Only if you want us to get there, but I know you want us to get there. So please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Now, in the chat, we have some great comments. I'm going to try to catch up and read one so that I align to what we're talking about. Coachila, you get to like Tuchel stubborn. We could not sign Perisic. I know you'd say something like that, but I love you and always nice to see you in the chat. Again, here we have how come Chelsea fans wanting Lukaku, Perisic, and Ziyech to leave Chelsea? Later, we will be crying why we sold them. And here, this host is so biased. Don't read Havertz. It's weak comments. I can't read every comment. It's not about being biased. Let me tell you, you cannot see any channel as subjective as this channel. Your opinion matters, but there are too many comments. I probably missed yours. So don't tell me as I'm biased as MF. I know what that means, but I'm not just going to read it. That's not how we operate here. I saw this in the chat. Your opinion matters, but I can't read everything. I don't have a studio engineer. Pacman says, I wanted Perisic, but I wouldn't mind Borna Sosa, who apparently has a release clause of just 21 million statistically, he's up there with full wing backs from clubs. Says no one will cry if Lukaku, Perisic, and Ziyech wants to leave. Big difference. Again, I get your opinion. I care about that. That cost is clearly means a lot. It's either you are for us or against us. Again, I like that one. No life, no limit says Conte and Spurs are qualified to Champions League. It's a problem for Chelsea and the league. He will be backed this season. Imagine them also adding Bastoni to the team after Perisic, Son, and Ken up front. I think they will be the counter-attack. Counter-attack will be like that is unstoppable if you allow me to phrase it like that. Again, I want to go back again to the panel quickly. Ty, you tell me. Let me read this here. Perisic is a decent player, but I still we could find a better player out there, and Perisic was never going to solve our problem in attack. He is 33, and I think we should go for a younger player. That's a good argument, but there are reasons why we should even have him in the team. Because he has experience, he's got he utilizes both feet very well, and he can play in this left midfield area, which I think, if you ask me, I'd say that's probably one of the reasons why Thomas Tuchel wants him. And he can beat the press quite well. One click is all it takes for coach to hit a 2K. Possibly it's 2K by the end of the day. I hope that happens. Thank you very much. The Added Time podcast. Ty, coming to you.
That's
let
wonderful.
us know. Yeah, thank you very much for saying that. Let us know what you think about Perisic joining Tottenham after all the talks that we have an agreement in place with him that he's coming to us, and boom, he is. We're hearing that already. The deal is done. He's joining Tottenham.
Well, with the little group, with you and Fahim and everybody, whenever everybody was speaking about Perisic, I was like, yeah, that with that, that's 50-50, because Perisic, every club that actually are in great need of, of a player of his profile would obviously be interested in monitoring the fact that he is not really agreeing to stay at Inter Milan, and plus he's practically won a lot of things there with them. So obviously his priority would obviously shift to something new. Obviously, Conte getting him would make sense because obviously they work together, and he was a key player under Conte. So I mean that really didn't shock me. Spurs having the interest didn't shock me. Obviously people were hopeful of him. I wouldn't have minded him, but I mean, it's not shocking. I'm not disappointed with it. Yes, he would have been good to have it made for experience on that left side, but at the same time, you need to build for the future. People say you need experience, and I agree with that, but you also need to have players that can actually go on into the future, because that's the issue we've had. We keep signing these players who are in their 30s, and then we miss out on these good players that could actually bring longevity. I can't even speak. Longevity to the team. And then when other teams are looking for solutions, you shouldn't be having that issue. So yes, Perisic would have been a good player to bring in as an addition, and obviously would have been beneficial because it would be a very cut price, and it'd be very beneficial to us because then it would really affect our transfer plans. However, for me, Perisic was a key player for Conte. So Conte getting him would be fantastic from a Spurs perspective and from his perspective. So I think it's unfortunate for those fans that were desperate and they were so excited for him and they were making edits and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's mid-May. You cannot be making these such big claims about players and not keep your composure. You have to be relaxed because, I mean, yes, it's unfortunate, and the fact that we had a principle, from January to sign him, it is unfortunate because obviously the sanctions sent us way back in what our plans were, and it shifted our plans. It shifted our things, and it's caused a lot of setbacks. But we need to think logically about it. Yes, Perisic would have come in, you would have added experience, but you also need to look ahead. If you want longevity, if you want to be competing with longevity, if Perisic comes in, should he have come in, and then he does well, eventually he has to leave. What are we gonna do? We're over reliant on players, and we need a cut that down. And I respect something that you always say. We don't need backups. We need competition, because when you get competition, it reduces complacency, because players will be kept on their toes. They'll be like, oh, if I don't perform good, I can easily just be dropped for this player. I need to be on my highest game. I need to be performing at the highest level. So yes, Perisic would have been a key player to bring in, but you need to look for the future. You need to look at longevity. And when you have a player who's younger, who has shown that he has the quality and can offer something, you're not really going to miss out necessarily. So you need to focus on the personalities and look at the profiles that can actually come in, be a competition to the players that you probably see as starters right now because they have no competition, so that the squad has more intensity, and they'll be kept on their toes, and it'll be beneficial to everybody, because then you know that the team will try to perform at their highest level, and if they don't, you at least have someone who can come in, and we won't be placed in the situation we had last season or the season that just ended, where when we have our quote-unquote starters, we have backups, and those backups cannot do it game after game, and there's no consistency. So that it's important to get those good players in. That's what I think, at least.
Yeah, I think you make a good argument, but I'm all for balance. And I think Perisic falls under that category of starters. I think he doesn't necessarily have to play for us on the flanks. I think he'd do quite well for us in the midfield. Plus, he's a creator. But again, I felt like listening to you the whole day. You made some brilliant points. Eric, your thoughts on the whole Perisic situation, conundrum, if you prefer, because my thoughts were that he was coming to us.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to happen. Despite his age, he's an energetic player. He's very mobile. I disagree, and I also agree with what Ty was saying. I think it's important to have more experienced players, let me say, in your team to maintain a competitive edge. Obviously, the focus is to build for long-term success, but at the same time, we want to be competing now. So, not everybody in our team will be young. So it's okay to have one or two players who are maybe, um, the wrong side of 30, maybe, if you want to put it like that. So I don't think that was a bad signing in terms of the age. He was always going to be signing for maybe 2 seasons, and then he'll go, and he can help us maybe be more competitive, be more decisive. Like you're mentioning, he's versatile. He can play multiple positions. It seemed like a sensible thing to do. Obviously, providing at the price, the wages went too high. It seemed like we could have done that, and it would have been a good deal, especially if Tuchel wanted him. But I don't really think that we need to be worried about, 1 or 2 signings being 30 plus. I think if, for example, Lewandowski was available, I think Chelsea should be trying to get Lewandowski. If we can get him on a free, and maybe he'll be earning like maybe 12 million pounds a year. Okay, probably maybe he would earn more than that, but if he costs like 12 million pounds a year based on only his wages, and he was signed on a free, that would be a sensible signing for me, because Lewandowski is one of the best strikers in the world. Benzema stuck in my head. Benzema is my preferred choice. I think Benzema is the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, but it's never gonna happen. You know that.
No, it's not gonna happen. But, yeah. So I think it's not a bad thing to have 30 plus players in certain positions, maybe 2 or 3 positions. I think that's not a big problem at all, to be honest. I think we already have that now. We have Silva, we have Aspi, even though he's probably going to leave. So it depends on how you use the squad. So for me, Tuchel has a lot of work to do. And I was thinking about a player on the left side, not to digress too much, but I was thinking about the Vardiol player. I think he's like 21, 22 years old. His name is Vardiol, I think. Plays for
can you type it? Let me look it up, because when we start talking about options, maybe we'll talk about him too.
Yeah, so I'm just typing it in the private chat.
Yeah, in the private chat, I'll pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking to myself, okay, so if you get a player like this, for example, in the defensive position as well, would that be a sensible thing for long term? Okay, we're getting Kunde. Would Kunde start week in, week out at his age? Yes, he has a lot of experience.
can we be sure now that we're even getting Kunde?
Yeah,
we're sure.
I think we'll get Kunde. I think we will eventually. But it's a thing where people have to be prepared to be patient, because when you sign young players, you can't expect them to have the best consistency. It just, there are only the players who do that at the young age are anomalies. It's not a normal thing for young players to be the most consistent in your team. And people don't like to think about it like that, but it's just the truth. So, yeah, it's a thing about, can we manage the balance between wanting to be competitive and wanting to build for long term. So anyway, I think I have to go now. So thanks for having me anyway. And
more thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you finding time to join. DJ, I'm going to come to you straight up, brother. Even you can actually, if you like, talk about it from a banter perspective. That we lost a player that we already started talking that we have an agreement with them in place. That it's only a matter of time, or maybe the only delay was that Inter had a deal, a new deal for him on the table that he's going to decide soon. And we were thinking, okay, the moment he decides he's coming to Chelsea, and boom, we're hearing now he has an agreement that probably going to Tottenham. If you want, like I said, if you want to talk about it from a banter perspective, I'd like to listen. But the fact that we missed out on him, your thoughts, DJ? Do we still have DJ there? Can anybody hear him? Can anybody hear DJ?
No, I'm not.
All right. All right. Okay. I think we should just switch to the next topic, and we'll bring in DJ when he comes back in. Ty, let's talk about options that are available. People have talked about Cucurella. People have talked about Borna, Sosa, and Eric just sent me one of the guys here, a new name here, Gavidio. Your thoughts on?
Isn't that the RB Leipzig, the centre back that they said is saying?
So okay, centre back, not really. We're talking about left wing back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so your thoughts on what options do we have? Should we be looking at after missing out on Perisic?
I mean, I know you said that people have mentioned Borna, Sosa, and the unfortunate thing is that I was away, so I really didn't get to put my input on that. So I couldn't really mention that, but I was gonna suggest those two. So unfortunately, there are other options as well. I mean, you do there's this Burnley left wing back that I can probably mention, but I cannot remember his name.
Let's just speak your top. What would be your top two?
My top two would be obviously Cucurella and Sosa. Obviously Cucurella. I said this in the past earlier today as well. If we get Kunde, and that's a big if, it would be beneficial if you get a Cucurella for two reasons. He is versatile because he can play as a left centre back and he can play as a left wing back, which means that should injuries pop up, which is very likely in football, you have somebody who can cover there. And in the past, we've seen that even at a left centre back, you can see them be very offensive. Rudiger showed that, for example. So you'll be like a second fullback. And I would allow him game time as well. The second thing is that he's in the Premier League right now. He's showing that what he can do, even as a left centre back, and even when he's rotated to be that left wing back. For me personally, it would be beneficial if you had a Kunde, if we get him, who can play as a right centre back and as a right wing back, and you have a Cucurella who can play as a left centre back and a left wing back. He'll basically be like a left-sided Kunde for us. The only difference is that we can have some assurance that he can do it in the Premier League. Unlike Kunde, where we just have to hope that with little time, with preseason adoption, he can, get a groove of what the Premier League's about, and he's eager to play in it, according to reports. So for me, Borna Sosa as well is another one. He's an excellent Croatian. I mean, I like to see us get these Croatian players. Kovacic, Pulisic is partially Croatian as well. And him, we've had it. Pasalic in the past, we used to have him as well. So they have this attitude towards them where they have this thing, and he's close to Cucurella. The only difference is that he really isn't really used to the same caliber as Cucurella is. So my top two are Borna Sosa and Cucurella. Cucurella is my favorite choice because he's done it in the Premier League so far, and he's performing on the highest level, and he's versatile, and he can play as a left centre back. That is one of the sole reasons why he's the first choice, because he's basically the right answer. And I mean, you speak about Perisic and how he looks as if he would have been the perfect, because he's versatile and he can play as a midfielder as well, and he's mostly a midfielder. It's like a match made in heaven. So I mean, if we don't try to at least try to get him, obviously there's Sosa as well, who has interest from United as well. But Cucurella is the preferred choice for a lot of people because of what he's doing at Brighton. And I mean, Brighton play a similar formation. As obviously the system is different, the demands is different because the midfielders in our system and Brighton's system do total different things. But I mean, it would allow him to be able to adapt a bit quicker. The only difference is that he'd have to know that his role, his responsibility is different as that left centre back or that left wing back, depending on where he plays if he signed. So for me, I think Cucurella is a preferred choice, but Sosa is also another shout. And at the end of the day, those two are the ones that are mostly being looked at.
Yeah. Again, hopefully we'll have DJ back. DJ, are you back, brother?
Yeah, guys, can you hear me now?
Yeah, brilliant. We can hear you. And nice to have DJ back. But before I go to DJ quickly, wherever you're watching from, please do us a favor. And if you're happy that soon the trouble we're going through regarding the sales or the sale of our beloved club, Chelsea Football Club, will be over. It's already over, actually, since we have a statement from the owner, Roman Abramovich. Please like the video to help us reach more people, and also subscribe to the channel to help us grow. We have just 19 more people to get to 2,000 subscribers, and I believe that can still happen today, even if it is after the show, but you can help us get even closer. So, DJ, we're talking about the fact that, by the way, Ty, that was a brilliant response again. I want to get DJ's comment because he hasn't spoken, and then I'll go, you can say, the leader of the panelists, LSC, because he has some great input that I learned a lot from. DJ, what I want to say is this. I want to get your thoughts on the fact that we thought, what's his name? Perisic was coming to us. Yeah, they say we have an agreement in place. We're just waiting that Inter has tabled a new offer for him. He's going to make decisions soon, and boom, we're hearing that he signed for Tottenham. I mean, you can see it from a banter perspective, or the fact that he rejected us. He's rejected us. Your thoughts on the whole thing?
Listen, this Ivan Perisic thing actually makes you laugh. And to the Tottenham fans out there, if any of you are watching, he has not in any way gazumped us at all. It makes common sense that he's going to Inter Milan because he's worked with Conte before, as Ty pointed out earlier on. And for him to gazump us and say, oh, he's going... I mean, we don't know 100% certain if he's actually signed for Tottenham yet. I mean, there's a lot of talk saying, yeah, it's all been done, the deal's stuffed with it. But until he's actually shown the Tottenham shirt to the media saying, I've signed for Tottenham, I'm not going to believe it. So as and when that deal does happen, because you remember the situation with Willian, I think everyone knows the whole Willian situation. He was all set to go.
That was why I'm saying this will be a good revenge, sweet revenge for them. Go ahead.
I wouldn't call it revenge because obviously, William was a younger player when we signed him, whereas Perisic is 33. I only wanted Perisic to come to Chelsea because I do rate him as a player because of experience. But obviously, if he's not to be the one, we have got other targets so we can win there. And I think that will probably end up going. Maybe people will say yes, we could have got him, but then.
Yeah, I think the internet is really not helping DJ.
Is it me? Or
no? It's not you. I think he has a bad connection.
Is it me or?
It's not you. Go ahead, DJ.
Sorted out. Only on Monday now.
Yeah, I think DJ has a poor connection. I hope he comes back. So, LH, you come on. Let me ask you. Look at the options. What options do you give us the two options? Your top two options we should go for since we've missed out. Let's assume that's assuming because DJ just said something. DJ doesn't believe it's over yet for us. He still believes there's a chance we'll still get Perisic. Am I right, Ty? Wasn't that what DJ was saying?
Yeah, he was saying because there's no certainty, and until we see the player holding up the shirt, in this case the Tottenham shirt, you can't say that he's signed yet. He's only
Yeah,
speculations.
yeah. Okay, so let's see. So my point is, if that's maybe, but let's assume they've signed him already, like we're hearing. What are your top two options? The club should go for if eventually we miss out. If it is true that we've missed out on him.
Yeah, if it's true, first of all, I don't agree with the notion that they can banter us with it because we are under sanctions, and
They're already doing that, says DJ. But go ahead.
yeah, but we shouldn't help them by shouldn't encourage them by saying
Mm-hmm.
certain things.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, this is not like William that has already done a medical, already undergone a medical and decided to come to us. All right. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not the same thing. We are not even sure if our link to Perisic is concrete. All right. Because let's face it, Tuchel, it's not usually that kind of. He likes to work with young players, but Kante, on the other hand, like to work with old players. So I won't be surprised now that is if he gets a Perisic, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
won't be surprised if he goes for Arturo Vidal. Yeah, he's 35 years old. Yeah, I won't be surprised because he says anytime I'm going to war, I have to take Vidal with me. All right. So I won't be surprised if Tottenham is linked with him. All right. Then that's when I know that okay, this guy has got some madness in his mind next season. All right. But in terms of options, my number one choice, I know a lot of people are touting Cucurella and all of that because of Premier League. We basically that would be Theo Hernandez, right? Theo Hernandez from AC Milan. All right, that would be my number one choice. He just won this Scudetto.
That's another good one that we haven't talked about for a while. But go ahead.
He's a player, 23 years old. He's young, so he can stay with us for a long time.
Did they extend his contract?
Uh, I think they are about to because they consider him as a vital asset to their club.
I think they
Because
did already because we wanted him. We were linked to him.
it doesn't matter if this new regime, if they are serious about the A list, right? They keep talking about. I'm not going to consider him a marquee signing or whatever. He's just going to be an expensive player out of circumstance, all right? But he will be a player that can actually work, all right? He likes to defend. He doesn't have any problem with that. He likes to score. I think he had about 8 goals this season and about 7 assists or something crazy like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, yeah, he can put in. The shift. He's got pace. So they took how many players from us? 2 players, right? They got Giroud, they got Tomori. So why give us Hernandez? That would be my number one choice. Then number 2 would be Cucurella because he's done a madness with a team like Brighton. And it's one of the reasons why Brighton are where they are and why they've been so stubborn this season. So we should always have eyes for players like this, but our scouts, those people, I don't know what's wrong with them. I think we're even losing some goalkeeping coach now, something like that. So we need a lot of
Mm-hmm.
work to be done, in that
Yeah, he's
department.
leaving us after some
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Mendy need competition. Mendy need competition because that guy thinks, nothing can stop him, like the position belongs to him now. When he wasn't
I
sure, he
wouldn't
was
blame
doing
him.
madness.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
blame Mendy either.
yeah. When he wasn't sure, he was saying, yeah.
Structure.
I think the praise is gotten to him now, and something needs to be done. We need competition for Mendy. And if we can get you Hernandez into the club, that would be great.
Yeah, those are 2 great options. Ty, your thoughts on Theo Hernandez? We seem to have forgotten about him, but we were linked to him seriously, most especially when Benchua got injured.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when Chua was injured, we were. But didn't they give him a contract though? I thought they
I
did.
think they
I
gave
know
him
they,
a new contract. I think that's
yeah, they
why
did,
probably
and that's why
people
that
haven't.
fizzled out because he got. I think they gave him a 5-year contract. AC Milan. So that I think that's why that conversation ended because I what I was using was that he's basically 1 year younger than Chilwell. So I mean, they'll be closer. They'll be close to the same age, and he's actually good for them. And I mean, winning the Scudetto, that is something big, and I mean it would give. Even if they didn't give him the contract, they would have used that as an excuse to say that you know what, we're gonna give him another year because he has to stay, and if anybody comes in, they have to pay a certain amount. But Theo Hernandez, he's a good player. He's good, and I mean, he has that French DNA. So it's actually he's actually a good player. But I mean, for me, I think people stop talking about him for the sole reason that AC Milan saw the opportunity to give him a new contract to tie him down, and I mean, it's not really likely to do that. You'd have to pay some big amount to get him out of AC Milan. So I think that probably fizzled out. But he's a quality player, so that's something to
He
look at.
is.
He's a quality player.
Yeah, he is. Bobby, welcome back to the panel. I know you had to leave for some reason. Bobby, let me ask you this. And I really wanted DJ to talk about it from a banter perspective, but he had a very bad connection, so he had to leave the panel. The fact that I know you had some. You didn't really want that option given his age. I'm talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm talking about Ivan Perisic. We thought he'd be on his way to Chelsea given the rumors that he had already agreed terms with us. And then it came out that no, he hasn't. In fact, that Inter has a new offer for him on the table. And we also heard that he says, okay, he will decide on his future very soon. And then now we're hearing that he's joining Tottenham. So you could talk about it from a banter perspective if you want. I know LSD thinks that will not be the case. You can also, what does that mean if he, if in fact he's spoken with us and then joined, Tottenham, or if in fact we wanted him to join us, we want him to join us, and he joins Tottenham. I want to hear from you because you followed the club for such a long time. What would that mean if that's the case?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm on the go today, so I was listening all along. It's just that I couldn't connect because I had to jump in and out of the car and all sorts. But yeah, I mean, Ivan Perisic. One, I have my doubts that Chelsea really had their eye on him. Often, agents and the like will use other clubs to try and get other clubs to pay more money or more wages. Even if Chelsea were interested in him, because of all the short-term uncertainty that has existed, that puts us in a disadvantage in a conversation where his ex-manager that he knows well, and I believe had a part of bringing him into Inter, was also after him. But, I'm not going to cry too much about Ivan Perisic. He would have been a squad player with us anyway, and he's going to Tottenham probably with the belief and the very possibility that he'll be a starter. Perisic won't start ahead of Ben Chilwell. And to be honest, what we need with the way Chelsea play for that position would be a younger player. I would be much, much happier with Cucurella than Perisic. Cucurella, having played in the Premier League, and who we have already seen what he's capable of. So Perisic at Tottenham, what does it mean? It just means that he's gone to join his old manager. It means that if, and that is a big if, Chelsea had an interest in him, we were not really in advantage, and we're still not in a position to do any deals until Monday, perhaps. So whatever the case is, he's probably gone for what he could get straight away. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over a guy that's 33 and will be 34 around the early part of the season. I know he tries to stay fit, but whether you like it or not, age is a factor. It gets the best out of everybody. Even Thiago Silva, he's done exceptionally well, but he's a defender, less running. But from time to time, you can tell that you can't keep flogging him like that. So Perisic to Spurs, well, if that's what they want, that's what they want. I know Spurs is a team that we need to keep an eye on, especially with Antonio Conte, and now with them being in the Champions League as a competition. They've got some good players, but Spurs will always be Spurs. They'll always be there for us to cane whenever we want to.
Okay, yeah, Ashimi, let me ask you this quickly, and I understand you're on the road, so that's a chance you might want to, jump off in a beat. We are okay. Given if we assume, let's assume Perisic was our first choice, or Tuchel's first choice in terms of getting another player that's capable of playing the left wing back position, and we've missed out on him. What are your top two options?
As I've said, Cucurella would have been my first option anyway. He would have to come in and compete with Ben Chilwell, because I'm sure Cucurella is somebody that wouldn't be happy to play second fiddle. But, what a lot of people looking at this situation or any situation is not taking into consideration is the fact that Chelsea Football Club plays a large number of games anyway in a season, especially if we're successful. Secondly, it's a World Cup year, so there'll be a lot of international friendlies and so on. And thirdly, there are 5 substitutions next season, and that is scope for a lot of game time, a lot of minutes, a lot of rotation, which I think will be very much a part of our transfer strategy going forward. So a player like Cucurella will get his turn. It's not a bad thing to be on the bench of a club like Chelsea. It's important to have that strength in depth, which is something that we've lacked terribly this season. So my alternative to Perisic will be Cucurella. I know there's talk of Emerson coming back, but I think if we get Cucurella, we might find that we sell Emerson.
And we seem to have
I have
forgotten
a
about
question.
Theo Hernandez, which we were linked to him heavily when Ben Chilwell got injured. But it looks like, Ty, you were right. I think they tied him down on 2026. If you're seeing the screen right now,
Yeah, it's
his
5 years. They
contract,
gave him a 5-year extension in
they gave him a
December.
new contract, but his price isn't still bad. $52 million. I don't think that's bad. But go ahead, Ty. You were saying something.
No, I wanted to ask Bobby a question. It was something he said about not starting. I was wondering if he meant long term. Should we have gotten Perisic? He said he won't be starting over Tuchel because we have to consider the fact that he's coming back from a serious injury that takes a toll on the body. So I was wondering if he meant long term or if he meant like he's not going to start over him.
The deal for Perisic is not a bad one. Don't get me wrong. It's a good option. I can hear that the deal for him with Spurs is 2 years, and I don't think it would have been more than that if we'd gone for him.
Given his age.
Yeah, but the fact is, we can't do any business. We won't be able to do business till at least Monday. So all these players we're linked with, this, that, and the other, it's all, I don't even know if we're talking to them. That's another thing. I have concerns about this transfer market because we've got to act very, very quickly. And, all this sentimental talk of, oh, we're going to get Marina to do this, that she doesn't act quickly in the market. We've got to be quick. We've got to be concise. We've got to name our targets and we've got to get our targets. The only thing that gives me a little bit of relief is the fact that it is said that Todd Boehly will be involved in the transfers himself and his direct consultation will be Thomas Tuchel. So that in my view, bypasses certain members of the board and bypasses the useless scouting group that we've got at the moment. So, well, let's wait and see. But we can't do any business. So I think it's because of our inability to conclude a deal anyway. That's why Perisic has gone elsewhere. It
But
hasn't helped.
let's highlight something, Bobby. We're able to talk to players. We just can't put pen to paper and conclude a deal.
Yeah, talk is cheap when somebody else is coming for you and dropping money on the table. You know, these people, it's their livelihood. You know, so after a while, you want some guarantees. They don't particularly care about Chelsea as a club unless they are the club paying their wages. So it is a disadvantage. You know, on the Koundé thing, why we have hope, and even that is some sort of a concern, but why we have hope is that there's been a long history. The deal is just a resurrected deal. So it's quite likely it will go to fruition. But anybody else that we're linked with, we can talk until the cows come home. Until you're able to activate that talk, it means nothing. Think about it, Coach.
It's useless. Yeah.
You know, you're going for a job and your potential employers are saying, well, yeah, we'd love to give you this, that, and the other, but you have to wait for us to get new ownership. It's not your problem, you know, it's not your concern. You're thinking, look, you know, I need to go to someone who can do this deal straight up. You know, from Monday, okay, now we're back, we're talking. You know, we can do deals, we can pay for players, we can sell players. But this is a huge disadvantage. It really is.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Again, I don't know. I'm surprised actually after AC Milan extending Theo Hernandez's stay at the club. His price tag is still around $52 million. That's not bad at all. But I don't know. Surprisingly, it doesn't look like we're looking at him. And another surprise here is Borna, Sosa, and Cucurella, both at 420 available. That is according to transfermarket.com. The clubs will probably tell you a different thing. Around 22 million. So that's not a bad price at all. And hopefully we're looking at either players because they're both good. Again, my preferred choice will be Theo Hernandez if he's still available. If he would want to come to us, again, we must stress that clearly. I think with that, I think we should just give me your final thoughts, Bobby, on everything we've talked about today. I think we'll look at the romance statement tomorrow and discuss it, analyze it in detail because we've streamed for 3 hours plus now. But Bobby, I want to get your thoughts on everything we've talked about today.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, you know, we don't know who Chelsea's looking at, in all honesty. You've mentioned Hernandez. They could still be trying to go for him, especially if he has a release clause. But the problem with that now is that AC Milan are very much in the Champions League places, and they are the Scudetto holders. So once a club has a trophy, it's harder to prize them out of the next season's project. But you know, you never know. If he has a release clause, then that's a different matter. I heard all that was said about Lukaku and that situation. I think it's a wait and see. I think, you know, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with the deal in the first place, and it's made things more difficult because there are striking options that we could go for. You know, I don't know. I just think this season we need to be careful. We need to have a healthy mix of purchase players and returning loanees.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Ty, your thoughts on everything we've talked about?
Okay, so I know we didn't speak about this, but I have to speak about it. The fact that you're so close to 2000 is fantastic. And also that's one thing. I mean,
and say thank you. Say thank you. Say thank you to the fans. Say thank you to the followers and those in the chat.
Yeah, man. Oh, and there's some more followers definitely coming right now. The thing is, though, with the debate on Lukaku it was getting heated. So I respect the fact that you gravitated away from it. But I mean, the discussions were good. Obviously, I missed part of the Cucurella um conversation he had, but it was a well balanced discussion from everybody. Everybody gave their points, and everybody was respectful to one another. So and that's key. You always need to respect everybody, and that's important. So I mean, at the end of the day, like Bobby is saying, I mean, until Monday when everything is finalized, we can talk and we can talk and we can talk. But if we don't do what needs to be done in terms of finalizing things, we could quite easily miss out on players that we want desperately, and that's unfortunate. But I mean, it's just the situation we're in. So I mean, hopefully things are resolved. Hopefully we do what needs to be done. But I mean, it was a very well balanced discussion. And it was a very well balanced stream.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. And again, I want to say, before I go to LSC to round off the show for us, I want to say thank you for 117 likes. At the time, we had nearly 200 people watching. And also, we've gained a few subscribers. Right now, we're at 1,985 subscribers. Again, just how many to round up? That's just 15 more to get us to 2,000 subscribers. And I know by the end of the day today, we will get there. But please, if you haven't, it takes just a second. Like the video to help the channel grow, and like it to show that you're happy that finally those that are laughing at us, Chelsea fans, will eat their words, because we're back, and believe me, I think we'll be even better. So, LG, coming to you, your final thoughts on everything we talked about today.
Yeah, we'll talk about quite a few issues.
Yeah.
Particularly on the Lukaku saga. I think the general consensus has been that it's up to him if he wants to stay, and it's up to him if he wants to leave. And we also believe that it was a mistake going for him. We should have gone for a more suitable option.
And we must
Somehow,
establish that doesn't mean he's a bad player.
yeah, that doesn't mean he's a bad player. It's just in terms of the systems and how adaptable he has been to the system. So moving forward, I think it's up to him, and we don't. If he wants to remain at the club, we don't want the drama. We want him to shut up. And if he's having a meeting, if I was there, I would want him to sign an undertaking or part of his contract, that they shouldn't speak to the press, under any circumstance. Because we don't need the drama for next season. We don't need it at all. Okay. So that's for Lukaku. If the rumor is true that he's actually moving to Inter, we also said that Inter will be the best option for him, and will be easier
And for us, the Stella.
for us, yeah, to sell. Right, yeah. So that's for that. Then the issue of Perisic being snarled by Tottenham. I'm not surprised that happened, given the circumstance that we find ourselves in, and given the relationship that he has with Antonio Conte. So yeah, they can have him, but I'm not going to dispute the fact that he's a very fantastic player and would have been very helpful for us. For those people that are seeking the growth and promotion of Ian Manson, they were actually pushing for Perisic instead of a younger player. But fortunately for them, that didn't happen. So we're looking at the alternatives to Perisic. Names like Cucurella came up, Borna, Sosa, and
Theo Hernandez.
Theo Hernandez. So it's up to Chelsea. That's why I keep saying, if you notice, yeah, what does A list means to Todd Boehly? If you want A list, yeah, A list should be winners, or consistent winners. or something like that, a player that is in a very good form for consistent seasons. So if you want the very best, then it's up to him. He has to, Roman has already, set a benchmark, but so far I don't think he's going to meet up that benchmark. But I hope, for the interest of the fans, that we succeed, that he exceed everything that Roma has done for us. That will only be good for us as fans, But the starting points, I'm not encouraged so far with the figures being thrown around. So if we're serious, as from Monday, then I want to know by Wednesday that Kunde is done. All right. Then by following weekend, or 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks into June, I want to see that we've already got all our days done, because I want those players to be ready for Tuchel for preseason. Because we don't want to have a situation where some player miss preseasons, and then we start using that as an excuse for next season to say, oh, they didn't play. Even Lukaku that played, no matter the amount of games they play, people still use preseason as an excuse. So we have to be very, very fast, and whoever has been the bottleneck in our transfer window, whether that be Marina or Bruce Buck, they should be completely cut off from these transactions, because so far they are the reason why we are in this position today. They make their decisions late, and then we get panic and have panic transfers like Saul, like Kepa and co. So we have to cut those things off for new season, and then we need to have a sense of it. Going into next season, I want us to have a sense of a new beginning, not just in what has happened, but in terms of the general feeling, the atmosphere. And that is going to be dictated by what happened on the pitch. So that'll be for me.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I want to say it's been a brilliant show so far. We've streamed for 3 hours and 11 minutes, which is almost the time, the duration for all the Blue Money shows. Hopefully, after the sale of the club, we'll be able to, trim it down to an hour at least, but it's going to be difficult. But we'll see what happens. Again, I want to say thank you to everybody on the panel. To Thai Talks. Thai Talks has a show that will come live in a few. Thai, tell us about the show quickly. I asked you to send me the link to the show, so I'll share, but you didn't. But quickly, before I go to Thai, if you haven't,
I didn't see the message, really.
Yeah, take the private chat. If you haven't, please do like the video, and more importantly, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We need just 15 or more subscribers to get to 2,000 subscribers, and I know we'll get that today. But you guys are absolute legend. Those in the chat from Just Viola, the queen of the house herself. Thank you very much for taking care of things. Chelsea the Kingslayer, if he wants to stay, I would keep him, and I think by tomorrow I will make Chelsea the Kingslayer a mod. He's been a brilliant, family member of this channel. I think it's about time he becomes a mod. And everyone at Kimono, True Blue, thank you for finding time, even though you had a data issue. You did find time to join us back and then to join back in, and then also contribute as usual as you do. Thank you to Hugo here, One Nedalo. I appreciate you so much. And every other person that's been here, from Liam to Steve Chelsea also. And also I want to recognize the presence of my brother, Ani from the Blue Clouds Media. Big up to everyone. He says, one out. It's always lovely to see you, or always nice to see you too, brother. I hope you're recovering quicker and faster. We need to see you producing videos as soon as possible. Ty, go ahead and tell us about the show, please.
It's basically gonna be around the announcement. Obviously, it hasn't really been finalized completely, but basically, who the owner is going to be. It's the moment Roman has, said that the new ownership has been this situation and things like that. That it's close to the final stage, and I mean, it's just practically, dotting your I's, crossing your T's. It's basically completed. It's just, to finalize those final contracts, and it's announced with through the media per se. So the stream or the show will be based around the announcement, expectations.
Okay, Ty,
and
just
much more.
quickly send me the link so that I can share it so people in the chat.
I was about to send it actually, but you can.
Yeah, so that they can go drop a like at least. That will help us reach more people because that would be a brilliant discussion.
Yeah.
And then hopefully I'll connect you with LSC. You know how brilliant he is. If he has time so that he can join and help make it a great show. You need to connect with them on Twitter.
I followed them on Twitter. I found the account. I don't remember. I think it's what's his name?
The new account.
The new account.
Yeah, he has a new account because the older one was blocked.
The one with the women is the one with the women's sports. The one with the
women. Okay, but because I had followed one with what's his name? That Netherlands
Gullit, yeah.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
So
Twitter banned me on that one.
Yeah. So if you're in the chat, here is the link to Ty Talks show coming up in a few hours or less than an hour. I don't know the time, but again, please, if you can, I'd appreciate it if you can go over there and just drop a like on the video and also subscribe to Ty Talks. Yes, also subscribe to YouTube, Ty Talks YouTube channel. He's closing in on 200 subscribers, and we can help him get there. Here's the link here. I shared it. Here's it, the link to Ty's show. Please be sure to like the video. It will be helpful to Ty, and also subscribe to his channel if you haven't. So with that, we've come to the end of the show. Just join us there. Believe me, you will enjoy it. Some great panelists will be available there. And again, I cannot thank you enough for how many likes right now, 121 likes. And I bet you we've gotten at least one more subscriber. Yep, I was right. We have 1,986 subscribers. So just 14 more to get to 2,000 subscribers. With that, we've come to the end of the show. See you guys at Ty Talks show. I hope you'll be able to make it. And all I can say right now is God bless us all. See you all tomorrow for another Blue Money show. And cheers.